And we are live. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Trash Picture Show. Tonight, guys, we are discussing the third entry for Dan Trachtenberg in the Predator franchise, Predator Badlands. It dropped this weekend, and yeah, for the most part, I think the panel is fairly happy with what they saw. And yeah, we'll get to that. But before we do, just want to do some introductions. So, at this side here, we have the incomparable Predpool. If you haven't checked out his channel, check out his channel. He's a big figure aficionado and lover of all things Predator. Below me here, we have Internet Eric here. Eric is an absolute fucking legend. If you haven't checked out his channel, if you haven't checked out his live streams, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Look, I know you're probably busy watching porn, but Eric's stuff is nearly as good. Nearly as good. You'll probably leave even more satisfied. That's my opinion, anyway. Although
I love how you're talking porn and then you use the term "my stuff." You know, when you're introducing me. Appreciate that, Marty.
It's good. It's real good. Yeah. No, but seriously, fucking check out Eric's channel. He does some great reviews and he does some great interviews. So make sure you check it out. And lastly, but not leastly, for the time being, we may have Larry, aka the Horror Cat Dad, on. But before we do, we have Monty G, the horror miser himself, an absolute class dude, and a channel well worth checking out. So, gentlemen, Predator Badlands. It dropped and it was getting rave reviews. I'm like, okay, I'll go see this. I saw it, I enjoyed it, but it's not perfect. No movie is perfect, and it's certainly not the best Predator movie. But yeah, there's some good stuff going on here. I think if you're a fan of the comics, if you're a fan of video games, if you're a fan of the expanded lore, there's a lot here for you. But it does its own thing as well. So, quick kind of whip round. Predpool, what's your initial thoughts on Predator Badlands?
I really enjoyed the movie. As many have mentioned, it is its own kind of thing for this entry. You know, understanding where the predator is at, what the environment, what he's dealing with. You know, it's understandable. You know, since there's no humans, that's why it's PG-13. But I think there was a lot of action. You know, it's like pretty much almost nonstop. It just has a small lull, just right before the third act, kind of. But nothing too long. I think, as far as the design of the Pred, which has been one of the main topics regarding this movie before it's been released, they don't like the way Deck looks, etc. But the movie addresses it, so it tells you why he looks like that. Yeah. There's a reason for it. It's not just because the designers wanted to, and that was the end of it. It's explained in the movie. Yeah. So there's a lot, So you kind of okay, I accept it. At least this is why he looks that way. So it just kind of to further push that he's an underdog, why his clan does, especially his father doesn't like him or whatever, and he wants to get rid of him, etc. So I think it was a solid entry. There was a few things that that it mostly had to do with the mascots, Bud, and believe it or not, even the snake on his shoulder. I didn't mind. He used it as a weapon. No problem with that. There was one part that I'm like, oh, come on, really? Where he was like on his knees and he threw those worms that explode. And somehow he has some kind of like psychic connection with the snake all of a sudden. And the snake knew when to shoot right at the worms and everything like that. It's like, how did he communicate with that snake thing to do precise shots to those things? How did the snake know he want, So those kind of like things that was kind of far reaching for me. Didn't take me fully out of the movie, but even if something is sci-fi and fiction, you expect a certain kind of logic still.
Yeah, form follows function. Form follows function. You want
exactly
to know how something works or how it does. Yeah, especially with sci-fi.
And the only other nitpick I have, I understand why Bud is there, and I think she should be there. But they could have toned down a little bit as far as the funny parts between Bud and Deck. There's too much cutesy thing going on there. I don't think that Deck had to necessarily go full feral and kill everything he sees. And I get it, but at the same time, I think there should have been a little bit more seriousness added. You already had Thea adding kind of some comic relief to a certain point. We didn't need now this Bud providing more comic relief on this movie. That's but at the end, you see what you see he's envisioning what's gonna happen. So
Thanks, babe. Thanks. I love you.
I was wondering why he's laughing, and then I read that comment, like, oh,
because I just read that comment. I was waiting
Yeah.
for Jen to make
I-
something.
It sounds like
wish it was
Jen's the
Mark
real
Burdett
predator of the
Akers, the
group. You
movie.
know what I mean?
But I'll
I
start
wish
ranting now. But overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I will rewatch it again, and I actually want to buy a hard copy of it. So that's for me says a lot as far as the quality of it. And I look forward to what happens next. And for last statement on this, I'm going to say for now is that I like what they did now, but I don't want them to repeat the format again like this in the sense that I hope there's more like maybe humans involved or tone down the humor a little bit or quite a bit actually on the next installment. But other than that, I think everything was great.
There is I'm kind of the same kind of area as you. I'm worried because this is doing well financially. This is probably one of the most successful Predator movies we've had, box office wise. And executives, they're like, oh, okay, this is the way to do it. It's like, no, but we'll wait with bated breath. Eric, what's your initial thoughts on this movie?
I was extremely happy with it. I was entertained. I was happy that it was its own contained story. Like the way it ends, it would be cool if we find out what happens afterwards, because we have that little bit of a stinger at the end, with the ship. But if we don't, I'm completely happy. I know when me and Predpool were together last time, we were giving you shit about Bud, and what could have happened with Bud. I don't think he was as bad as we were expecting. I don't think he was as goofy and lame as, say, what's his name, like Groot or
Yeah.
Grogu was. He actually, other than those two, or aside from those two, he actually served a purpose in this film instead of being cute. He wasn't as bad. I really liked the beginning and the relationship with Deck and his brother. It did have a message about being an outcast of the family. I really enjoyed Elle Fanning in both roles, whether it's cutesy and bubbly in one and cold and calculating in the other. You know what I mean? I do think they could have toned down the comedy a little bit, but I took it for what it was because I took it as like an odd couple movie because Deck is so fucking serious when she's Thea. Is it Thea when she the nice version, I guess you would say?
He is the
Yeah.
good saint. Tessa's the evil saint.
Okay. When she's Thea, I was okay with her being bubbly and funny because of how serious Deck was. So I think that worked. I was extremely happy. My only honestly main problem is kind of like when it's kind of like AVPR. A lot of times when the action is in the dark, it was hard for me to see. And the final confrontation between Deck and his father, I'm sure we'll get into it. I wish it was handled a little differently. The final death blow, I guess you would say. I was not happy with that, but that's nitpicking to me. But overall, I was very, very pleased and very happy. And I hope, like I told you, Marty, when we were talking yesterday, I hope if they continue, Trachtenberg is involved some way or another with the next edition of it or next installment.
I'd say that Disney have him branded as a golden goose now. They're like, yeah, if I can keep laying
He's
those
three
eggs.
he's 3 for 3
Yeah.
for me.
So for
Yeah.
me too. Yes.
Monty, what was your initial thoughts on Predator Badlands, good sir?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the film. As I said in my review, I thought Dan has done a fantastic job this third time around. You can obviously see that he really does enjoy the franchises because he's actually pulling stuff from the novels and the Dark Horse comic books. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I kind of figured some people might not like that. I like the fact that when I looked at the reviews, no one knew what a Yautja was. It's the first time that they said, and they had trouble pronouncing it because even Corey Leach, who loved the film, didn't know what a Yautja was, and he was like saying, "I think it's called a Yautja," and it's like, "Wow, that's fantastic!" It just proves to show to me that obviously people never actually looked into some of the novels and Dark Horse comics when it came to the Predators franchise. They just looked at the first film and the second film, but didn't know about any of the lore or the mythos when it comes to this species. But I love the banter back and forth between Dax and Thea. I thought it was fantastic. Really had no problem with Bud. He actually serves a purpose. He's not there just to be a cute thing, like we see most of the time when it comes to Disney. Like they always have this cute thing, but at least he serves a purpose, obviously, in the film. As some of the comedy, I know what you're probably talking about when he mimics Deck all the time. I think a lot of people didn't like that, but I thought it was just funny because he really likes. It's just him bonding with Dex, so he imitates him. I thought that was a bit funny. I love the fight scenes. Obviously, yeah, a lot of people want the gore, but you do get alien gore, you get synth gore. Obviously, I think one of the best kills was that elephant scene when he splits it in half.
With the sword.
That sword, I thought that was fantastic. The audience that I was sitting was cheering when that actually happened, and some people started roaring like Dex was roaring. I like the fact that we actually get to hear the language.
Yes.
From the Yautja, we actually get to hear the language. I know, Marty, you were telling me that you didn't like it because you prefer. Was it Scott Perry that you said wrote the
original dialogue and basis for the language was made by Stephen Perry, and I've been reading those novels for fucking 20 plus fucking years, and the words in my head are ingrained in my fucking head. And they did cherry pick vowels and stuff and different aspects, but they essentially revamped it, and I understand that, but like, and I appreciate they kept the name Yautja. I do. I appreciate that. I need to go back and check to see. I hope Perry was credited at least in some fucking way, shape, or form.
I don't think it's because when I was looking at the credits and I happened to see the Yautja language, it wasn't his name. His name's not listed there. It's two other people that actually got credited for the Yautja language. Because I think one that's name was Brian.
Yeah, no, it's Stephen Perry, and he done the entire fucking Alien Bible as well. There's a fantastic book I have called the Wayland Yutani Archive, and he wrote that. If Disney threw out all that stuff he done, and I know I gotta accept it because they done that with Star Wars. Everything's legends now, and they don't fucking credit stuff. But it's such a kick in the balls because we got the Dark Horse comics, and Chris Warner and the lads there fleshed it out. And then when those comics were turned into novelizations, Steve Perry just went fucking buck wild and opened up the world. And just to think that he isn't getting any fucking recognition, it pisses me off to an extent. But that's a nerdy nitpick. I gotta accept. Not everything is going to be acknowledged. But to me, I do think it's an insult and a kick in the balls for someone who did fucking essentially do the framework for this language and this culture for the most part.
Oh yeah, because I enjoyed the beginning of the scene. We get to see Yautja Prime. We get to see the actual mythos and why the predators, why it's so important for the hunt is it's so important for them. The fact that once they get the hunt, they actually get the cloak device, which is that's really what he wants. I really enjoyed that fact. It's something that we never have been exposed to, and I understand some people who really are so ingrained in the original's 87 film, because it's I guess when they saw it, that's just what they know about the Predator. It seems like for some reason they just prefer that particular version. They didn't want to see any type of growth, any some type of evolving from that particular character. But for me, that's something that I enjoy, as long as it's done right and it makes sense. So that's why I didn't have a problem with this particular one. And I understand a lot of people didn't like Deck's look, but there's a reason for that look. He's a runt. He's supposed to look that way.
It's
I think like a comparison, because the original Predator came out almost close to 40 years ago, right?
Mhm.
yeah, 87.
So if you just take a different license, let's take Dracula. If you take a original black and white Dracula movie, and you
Mhm.
compare it to Bram Stoker's, right?
Mm.
Two different styles done completely. So imagine someone who's hardcore. No, I like the black and white version. That's the correct Dracula. This one here's way too crazy. It's got him turning. So follow me for a second. So people have to understand that 40 years have passed. You can appreciate and love that original Predator movie. Not saying don't do that, but 40 things are going to change. Different generations. It's got to adapt. It's got to, you can't just like in that Dracula, you can't knock the original black and white. It's still a film treasure, but you know for that generation, there might have been someone who didn't like that Bram Stoker's color or whatever version that came out. So same with anything else. Fine, you like the original Predator. This new one came out now. We're in a different society, whether you like it or not. Different business models, different, Disney. Oh, I hate Disney. Things like that. That's the environment we're living in now. We didn't face this whole thing of hating Disney 40 years ago. Everybody loved Disney back then. Predator wasn't part of Disney. It is now. People are split on Disney. This is the environment. They think that for what the environment is now, Predator Badlands has come out pretty well done compared to other stuff that has come out, whether it be reboots, etc. That people are like, oh man, that was horrible, or it was not done well, whether it be Disney or other you know other companies, etc. So I think for what it is, Predator came out pretty well for the environment that we're in.
Okay. All right. At the risk of sounding like a dick, I'm gonna punch your analogy in the face and then pat it.
I understand.
In the back. So what the thing is, if this was a remake, grand, that's all right. But I think the main issue is people are having this is set in the same universe. This isn't a reimagining. This is set in the same universe. That said, backing up your point, as Monty and everyone else has pointed out, he's a runt, but also he's from a species on a planet. I mean, you look at all of us on the stream. There's some distinctive fucking differences between our fucking features. Humans, not all fucking humans are going to look the same. Not all fucking creatures on any fucking planet are going to look the same.
Yeah, like there's three cool people with glasses.
Yeah. Fuck you.
That's a good one.
Fucking hell, Jesus Christ. You better keep that mask on, motherfucker. But the point is, though, it would be ridiculous if we had the same creature churned out over. These aren't fucking robots. These aren't fucking clones. It's an entire fucking planet of creatures. And you are right, though. The landscape has changed. The demographic has fucking changed. I mean, Trachtenberg, be it a ploy to get more asses and seats, or be it a ploy to realize, okay, the prior generation who loved this movie, they're not going to always be around. We want to fucking have a seamless transition. And I think that's what this is as well. He wants to get the next generation of Predator fans prepped and ready. And the best way to do that is get them in the fucking seats, get them in the cinema while they're young. Also, I just want to say hello to people in the chat. We have City Hunter Love. We have Nigel Bakers of Movies. And we also have that lunatic of a girlfriend of mine, Jen Mitchell. Hello, I loves you. But
just a quick thing about you mentioned about generations. Like yesterday, Friday when I went to the movies, I saw families there with kids like 10 years old.
Yeah, so did I.
9, 8, 9, 10 years old at a PG-13 movie. So whether you agree with they should have taken them or not, that's different. But these kids are already watching this movie, and it's going to leave an imprint, whether they like it or not. But it's already now forming part of their I want to say their culture as they growing up.
I have a 13-year-old daughter, and she could give two shits about the original Predator. She saw clips of Prey and wants to rewatch it, and she's interested in Badlands. So there you go. You know what I mean? So Trachtenberg's doing something right, getting other people interested.
Yeah,
Like she's not really interested in Killer of Killers because of it's so violent. She says, I don't really need to see that. You know what I mean? She doesn't care. But when it comes to, you know, the invincible female protagonist that we have in Naru, you know, maybe it's because she's also a girl. She's interested in that. She's interested in it being a different culture with the Native Americans. She's interested in this. I mean, yeah, she thinks Bud's cute. Of course, she's a 13-year-old kid. You know what I mean? But she's interested in the angry predator and the fun, bubbly, synthetic type of thing. So he's doing something right, getting that next generation into the films.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be just the guys that grew up with the macho men from like Schwarzenegger and Ventura and all that type of stuff. So,
but
I ain't got time to bleed.
but I can definitely see the old school fans fucking hating this. And no, you're right. There's not much they can fucking do about it. Like
there's no pleasing anybody, dude. Marty, I've said it before. Predator is in my top 3 movies of all time, and there isn't a Predator movie I dislike. Even The Predator, which has a lot of problems. You have talked about that a lot, Marty. You can verify. I found some good in that. I'm not just some fucking stick in the mud when it comes to this fucking franchise.
Hey, Eric, I'm still waiting for the day for the Stargazer cut, and that's going to be a fucking shit show when it comes out. But I'm interested to see what that's going to be like.
I'm all for Predator monkeys. I don't give a shit. I don't take my money. I'm ready for it.
But just so we're going to be getting into details of what we liked of the plot. So as a result, I'm going to put up a spoiler warning here. And we'll get cracking. So, Monty, I'll start with you. What was your thoughts on the introduction to Dec, Quay, and Jor, the two sons and the father, and Yaksha Prime? What was your thoughts?
I really enjoyed that. The one thing I always love is when you have alien species, whether it's the xenomorphs, or you have the Vulcans, or you have the Klingons, or you have whatever alien species. I always like seeing what their culture is like. How do they live, or how different they are from Homo sapiens or humanoid species. And I like that aspect that Dan did between Dex, Dewey, and Yor, and the whole Yautja culture. How they hunt, why they want to hunt, the whole purposes of the hunt. I like the camaraderie between Q and Dex, and the fact that even though Q knew that he was supposed to kill him, he still didn't. And then he actually stood up to his father and says, "No, I'm not going to kill him because he's my brother. I still love you, even though he might be a runt." But I like that whole aspect. The whole 10 minutes of Badlands really set the tone for the film for me.
Yeah, it was a good way to introduce it. Also, hello to Larry, aka the Horror Cat Dad. Thank you for joining us, dude.
Hey, Larry.
Hey, Larry.
Larry, question for you, because I've already asked the lads. What's your thoughts? What's your general thoughts on the movie? I think
he's muted.
Your mic is muted, dude.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What was your thoughts on the movie?
Well, rating 7 out of 10. I thought it was good. I was very hesitant on it, and it's not perfect. It's not, Prey's better. Killer at Killers is better, but yeah, I still liked it. I was quite surprised. There was a lot of stuff that was, the whole Disneyfied thing, but no, I still really enjoyed it. Like I said, I gave it a 7. I'm curious to see, especially with the ending, which I won't say yet, but we won't talk about that yet, I guess.
We'll get to that. Actually, I just done a springboard question. What did you think of the opening introducing Deck, Quay, Jor, and Yacha Prime itself? Did you think that worked? You think that was a good way to open the movie?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I really liked one of the things I guess we'll get into is that one comment I made to my wife was that I love the look and I love the tech. Like it looked very sci-fi. And I was like really happy with that. Like when you see the tech from Wayland and like all the other stuff, less stuff with the Predator, I thought that all that looked really good. Yautja Prime looked really cool. Yeah, the only thing that I guess that the CGI fights that they had a little bit kind of took me out of it, but yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah,
The father
it
looked
was a good
really looked awesome, and that
Yeah,
whole
he looked intimidating.
yeah, and then that whole that whole beginning that where he gets sent off and everything. Yeah, leading up to that, it was pretty legit. I thought it was pretty good.
It was cool. One thing I don't know if you guys know the timeline. Timeline wise, this is set 100 years after Alien Resurrection. So Will and Yutani have come back out of hiding. There's a whole other fucking story that's gonna. Yes, they weren't bought by Walmart. Thank living fuck.
I was gonna ask you, Marty, because you're my Aliens universe guy, and Resurrection's probably the one I've seen the least when it comes to aside from like the newer ones like the Prometheus and the other one. Everyone was talking about how Wayland Yutani went away by the time Resurrection was out, and there was this whole Walmart thing. I was going to ask you tonight, was that a whole troll thing, or is there really Walmart involved, or what the fuck is everybody talking about?
No. Okay, so a lot of people thought it was genuine, but like there's stuff that was the Gedman, not is it Gedman? Gedman was Brad Dorf. Basically, one of the scientists says it to Ripley that they were bought out by Walmart. He was just being a cunt. He was just being a smart arse cunt to put down Ripley and the fact she was afraid of Will and Yutani. The fact is, right, and I'm going deep into some fucking serious alien lore here. After the events of Alien 3, Will and Yutani was blamed for the destruction of a lot of colonies, and the colonial administration put the Marines in fucking charge. By the end of the 2190s, all the corporations were essentially banned. You can't fucking, there's no more privatization. Colonies can't run, or companies can't run colonies, and the colonial administration was put in charge. As a result, Will and Yutani were like, okay, we'll fucking go off, we'll do black ops things, we'll do covert shit. They were obviously still fucking making weapons and selling weapons in the background, but they were always there. They just had to fucking keep a low profile because of the colonial administration would essentially fucking whitewash any company. And Will and Yutani, a lot of them didn't survive. The likes of Seekson and Lynch and other companies basically got fucking eradicated. But Will and Yutani kept a low profile, and as a result, they were able to fucking survive. And there is a friend of mine put forward a really interesting theory that his idea is that the mother module is actually Wendy, and Wendy is trying to fucking find her children, aka the xenomorphs, and that's why she's been doing it for so long. That's one theory, and I like that idea that it's actually the mother module that's running the entire company. AI is running Will and Yutani, but I sorry, that's a bit of a fucking. I went on a bit of a tangent there, but yeah, that's an interesting concept. They weren't bought out by Walmart. They just had to go into fucking hiding because of shit the colonial administration had done. But yeah,
I'm glad you brought it up. The timeline, though, Marty.
I liked the. Sorry.
No, I'm glad you brought up the timeline because there was a certain scene, and I will get to it later.
I think there's a bit of lag on my end, guys. Apologies.
Oh, okay. No, there's a scene later that I was just like, oh no, please don't let this be. and then now you telling me when it's in the timeline, I'm like, okay. I'm like, even more so. I'm like, I'm happy that that's not the case, but we'll get to it because I don't want it to be like any spoilers yet or anything.
Well, no, I have a spoiler banner up, so don't worry about it. But yeah, Eric, what did you think of the opening, dude?
I loved it, man. And like I've said before, I'm a guy that doesn't know anything about the lore. I've read Concrete Jungle 10 years ago. You know what I mean? And I've read a few of the comics, but I'm a newbie when it comes to the lore, so I'm going in just knowing the films, which is fine. Like you said, it's kind of like Star Wars. Well, you don't have to read the books you shouldn't have to read the books to understand a movie. You know what I mean? And I appreciated the fact that Trachtenberg was able to cherry pick this and that for the people. Like, Deck has a broken fang, you know what I mean? But we have broken tusk. Nah, you know what I mean? But I enjoy that as a newbie, I got to see what the planet looked like because we had that little bit of a tease in one of the AVP movies. I love the look of their father with the gray dreads. You know what I mean? I thought he looked cool. I love the way his outfit looked. And I loved how close that Deck was with his brother. Just that little scene when they're in the ship, you kept he's looking at the toy, you kept this type of thing, oh, you saved my life. That little bit, it showed that they do care about each other. It's not just all about honor and the hunt and stuff like that. There's like that family dynamic that I appreciated that we haven't seen from these things that skin you alive and hang you from trees. You know what I mean? I really appreciated that addition to it. Now, it could be because I don't know the lore. You know what I mean? I'm just going in with the movies. I have a different way of viewing it, but I really loved it. And I liked how when the Deck was fighting his brother was training him, telling him what to do, what not to do, this and that. And he wanted him to be victorious. He was rooting for him. He was training him. So I really dug it.
That's actually one other thing I noticed with the Trachtenberg's Predator movies. There seems to be a theme of family, particularly siblings, running through these movies, be it Naru and Tabe, be it Kenji and his brother in Killer of Killers, or even Ursa and her son. There seems to be, and even to another extent, which I don't think worked as well, Tia and Tessa, there seems to be the theme of familial bonds. Did anyone else notice that seems to be something that's going through a lot of these movies?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. I just like it. I like the fact that it's there's more heart to it. It's cool to see a bunch of fucking big strapping guys with machine guns shooting up fucking alien monsters, but at the same fucking time, there's a bit more meat on the bone with these stories, But Fred Poole, what was your thoughts on the opening on Yautja Prime with Deck, Quay, and Jor?
I loved it. I think it was what many of you guys already commented. It gave more as far as in depth or more details as far as dynamics of Yautja and their culture, etc. In my personal opinion, something that could have worked also, aside from putting the whole scene in the beginning, like cut it up into flashbacks during the movie. So when Thea asks him certain questions, we cut scene and have a flashback of those certain parts in there. So that kind of helps in the story as far as understanding. Instead of just, it works both ways for me. Whether how it was put in the beginning, all of it of that scene of those three. Or I think it could have worked also to help with the pacing during the movie, that as flashbacks, certain parts of it. So that way, even the parts that there's no action, and then you kind of get this bit of his history throughout the movie that helps, the audience to maintain, oh, wow, that's interesting. So his brother did that, and then it cuts, and then, oh, crap, he survived and his brother, but then what happened? And then you go to another part. So I think that could have worked that way too. But I really enjoyed the intro, and I think it worked well that way too, as far as showing that dynamic between those three and what happened.
Yeah, it really established the relationship between Deck and Quay. And like even the bit even the bit where Quay is kind of fucking crawling, and he could go for the sword and defend himself, but he goes for the fucking he's trying to go for the gauntlet to launch the ship. And again, it's fucking borderline Shakespearean, just to have your father commit fucking like regicide or like want to kill your fucking firstborn. There is something almost fucking Shakespearean about it, and I was impressed as well, the level of emotion. Demetrius Schusterkopf, I'm not even going to pronounce the guy's name, but he fucking kills it in this. Him, ADI, Weta, the whole thing, but his performance just fucking absolutely solidifies this. I don't think this movie would work nearly as well if it wasn't for his performance. Monty, what did you think of his performance actually?
Oh, he was great. He was great in the film. Obviously his facial expressions, his banter, how he even though he's speaking Yachu, his you can see his emotions when he speaks, especially even though he's not supposed to show any emotions, because we never seen a predator or a Yacha expressing type of emotions, but you can see, especially during that right around the second act of the film, when he believes Thea has betrayed him. And he's and when he actually discovers his ship, he's still pissed off about himself because it's like he really liked her. He was bonding with her. Yeah. And I really did like that aspect of the Predator. Yes, because sometimes we are so caught up in the bravado and the He-Man aspects of some of these characters that we don't know that sometimes these characters might actually have emotions. They might actually have care. They might actually have something more than just being a badass. And I really thought they did a great job, and he did a great job of expressing that. That's why I really loved it. Yeah, I don't know if he isn't cast. I don't know if that type of banter or the chemistry he has with Ella Fanning makes the film as great as it is, or as good as it's not great but good. Mm-hmm.
I mean that scene in the ship again. It solidifies that he's a kid. He's a fucking kid. You know when you're a teenager and you get pissed off and you just start fucking slamming the wall and shit. He does that. It's just like Christ. Trachtenberg did do the impossible. He made a relatable Predator. And as I said before, people are going to have issues with that, but I think it works because you're like, you get behind this dude. You want him to fucking achieve his goal, and that's Eric. What's your thoughts on Demetrius's performance?
I thought he was great because I think I've discussed pretty much almost all the Predator movies with you, Marty, and it to me it nodded back to Kevin Peter Hall because Kevin Peter Hall, he had he treated it like a dance. He knew that the Predator relied on body language. You know what I mean? It's not the first time we've not seen emotion from a Predator. We've seen frustration, we've seen cockiness and stuff like that from them. So, but Demetrius was really good with, and with his body language and the use of CGI, which I know is something you were really worried about with the face. And I think with that scene alone where he was going to be taken out by his brother when he was, lack of a better term, chained down, you know what I mean, with the lasers and stuff, you saw in his face the frustration, the fear, the anger, all mixed into one. I liked how when he first crash landed, he's frustrated, he's punching the ground, he's pissed off, and he's also very, very cold. Thea is a tool to him, and that's the only reason why that's how she convinces him to take her along. Like, there is no bond yet. And I just appreciated his performance, and I thought he was really, really good.
Yeah, he kicked ass. Again, and like you pointed out, at the start, he is kind of distanced towards Tia, but as the movie goes on, you get this brilliant dynamic, and then you get the double punch of him being betrayed again. Like, and again, you see the frustration in that. Before I move on to some other folks with that question, Hobbs has a question here. Question for you guys. It was originally set for Patrick Swayze to be the main lead in Predator 2. I would think that all would have played out better. Certainly better than fucking Steven Seagal, because Steven Seagal was supposed to be the lead in fucking Predator 2.
Gross. That's all I'll say.
It's like the Predator holding up Seagal's head by the fucking ponytail. Yeah, fuck you.
He takes the ponytail instead of the skull. That's the real trophy.
He's wearing it in belt like a
Yeah.
fucking like a pelt.
Yeah,
I think
if he brought this, oh, sorry, Monty, go on.
yeah, I wouldn't have a problem Patrick Swayze being instead of Danny Glover. It would have
Yeah.
worked out fine for me. You
I
know, he
think
was,
so too.
Yeah, it-
yeah, he was doing action films, at the same time. You know, it was like,
And what was the other one where him and Gene Hackman had to save Gene Hackman's son who was in Vietnam? What was that fucking movie? It was really good.
I can't remember.
Uncommon Valor,
Yeah.
I think, right? Yeah.
He was in Red
yeah.
Dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in Red Dawn.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
But in fairness, Danny Glover was no fucking slouch in that movie.
No.
He was
No.
essentially Harrigan on a better day, but
Yeah.
fucking, he was fucking Lethal Weapon cop. I'm too old for this shit, but he wasn't quite as old as he could have been. I'm kind of old for this shit. Eric, what's your thoughts on Demetrius's performance?
My thoughts? I just gave it, bud.
Oh, sorry.
Ooh.
Sorry.
I think he meant Larry.
Sorry. Yeah, Larry. Sorry, Larry.
Yeah, maybe because you both have beards, he got you.
I think that
Yeah,
Steven Seagal
No.
took over is what it was.
Mess with mine.
Yeah.
The Mojo Priest has infected Marty.
Sorry, Larry. Larry, what's your thoughts on Demetrius?
He was okay. I mean, I still the look of this Predator was kind of like it was. Even during the movie, like I was like, man, he looks weird. Even the brother, even Quay looked kind of weird to me. The father looked awesome. I thought he looked really, really good. Even like spoiler later on when you see his face, I was like, oh man, that looks legit. But the acting itself, like I thought he did a good job. Some of the parts, the cold parts, I thought that was kind of cool. Where he was like using her as a tool, and he's like, oh, like a tool, like that's how he equated to like, oh, I don't need somebody to help me. It's like, oh, you're just a tool, like another weapon or something. And I thought that was pretty good. The actual emoting and stuff, like I did like the dynamic between him and his brother. I thought that was pretty good. But I just my thing was I wish they would have dialed down the comedy from Thea. I don't know. I thought Bud, that stuff I thought was kind of fine. Like I had no issue with that. I think if they would have dialed back the comedy from Thea and then just left mostly that part of between him and Bud, I thought that was fine. It wasn't too Mando Grogu. It was a little bit different, But I can definitely see the Disney-fied part of it.
Yeah, there is some elements hard to ignore, and certainly with Tia, there is a bit of MCU quippiness that could have been toned down. Maybe but that's every movie now.
I look at it this way. I look at it this way, and I was wondering because she is bubbly, she is kind of over the top, she is kind of goofy, and I was thinking to myself, a lot of people are going to find her annoying. I didn't find her any worse than Bill Paxton was in Predator 2 because a lot of times he's pretty cringy and annoying and obnoxious until the very end. When we first meet him, I want him to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Every time he's on screen. And by the end of it, I think he was part of the team. He realized it, and I think that's how it was with her. I don't think she was as bad as he was when we first met up with her. She was more cute and he was more obnoxious. So I don't think, I think people, but again, this is just my take. I think people tend to forget that we've had these annoying characters in the Predator universe way before she showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The way I see it as well is she was damaged and her CPU is trying to run fucking a bit faster than it should be. And that's why she's just barraging him with questions and stuff like that. Because she's essentially an anthropologist, synthetic. She's
Mhm.
there to try and gather as much information about species. And hey, she's got one-on-one time with Yautja. She's like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to try and find out as much as I can.
Now you
Mhm.
mentioned
Dreadpool,
earlier
what
that
about you? What?
no, well,
Go on.
just briefly, quickly, continue talking about Thea. Now you mentioned earlier that this supposedly takes about 100 years after resurrection, approximately.
Yeah.
Correct. So if that's the case, if you look at Call, who was in Resurrection, the synthetic in that movie, she acted
Yeah.
fairly human. You know, she
Yeah.
kind of even displayed kind of emotion. So if 100 years have passed, you can only expect the synthetics are going to even further advance and be more. The programming is going to be more realistic, and display more emotions, etc. So if you follow that timeline, if you feel that Thea is too emotional, well, if you look at the movies and you go by timelines, you kind of can justify
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Now,
It
as
would
far
make
as
sense. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say it would make sense that she would be the next evolution of the Auton, which was Call's version, which were robots that could independently think for themselves and stuff.
exactly, the actor doing Deck, I think he did great. As far as his movements, I don't know if he did all the choreography as far as the battles. I know he has a stunt double. But yeah, as far as like the basic movements, even like in the beginning where the brother like hit him in the shoulder, the reaction was natural. So yeah, I think hopefully they'll keep him for if they do another installment that that involves Deck. I hope they keep him so that way I think he did a great job.
Yeah, it's like as Kevin Peter Hall said when he done the performance of the Predator in the first and second one, he's not just there being a marauding monster. He's putting his own personality into it. The Messiah warrior pose, that was Kevin Peter Hall. The
Mhm.
movements, everything. Like people say, oh, the Predator was just a mindless marauding monster. He fucking wasn't. He was a tribesman. He was a hunter. And the cool thing is, Kevin Peter Hall played two of these creatures that were fairly distinctive. You had the more methodical jungle hunter, and then you had the more kind of renegade city hunter who was more boisterous and bombastic, who jump on top of a fucking subway train and kill everyone in there. And it's cool. You got these two different distinct personalities. And I think maybe that's what some of the latter movies were missing. Now you got some elements with Scar and stuff like that, but by and large, I think Kevin Peter Hall cracked a recipe for how to do the persona, and as a result, Demetrius has kind of gone forward to do that.
Correct
But
me if
yeah, so essentially, yep.
no, Marty. I was gonna say correct me if I'm wrong, but he was also Greyback too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was Greyback as well
So that's three.
in that scene.
So
Yeah,
then it's
yeah,
three
the
different
distinct
distinct ones.
personalities. That's the point.
Because Greyback like was
Mm.
totally different. Like I mean, yeah, that's why still Greyback is my favorite. But no, I mean, just to further your point, I mean, Kevin Peter Hall did an amazing job as three different Predators.
Yeah. Hey, apologies, guys. I'm off my game tonight. I'm calling people the wrong fucking name. I'm forgetting one of my favorite fucking Predators in the franchise.
I still blame
Fucking
Steven
hell.
Seagal. It's
I
okay.
am
Yeah, that's what it was.
fuck him and his ponytail. I'm I don't just Jessica, City Hunter Love says Kevin Peter Hall is the only one. But isn't White, Ian White, amazing too? Yeah, Ian White was good as Scar. Wolf,
Mhm.
I like Wolf. Wolf was badass, but he didn't have much of a distinctive personality. And yeah, I
I think
think
I
that's the
like
special sauce.
Delegro as well.
Go on.
I did like Delegro in you know the Feral Predator. I liked him.
Yeah, he was good as the feral predator. Just the kind of inquisitive nature and stuff. That was pretty cool. And just how he'd get pissed off. The scene where the guy's pulling a knife on him and he just fucking looks over and it's like, you taking a fucking piss and takes his head off with his shield. That's a
No.
great fucking moment.
Now, to be fair with White, since the movie was so dark, you might have not seen all of his performance
yeah.
as the Predator. But we did get a slight glimpse of it when, again, going back to that scene where Wolf, when he saw his fallen comrades, his reaction.
Oh, on the ship, where he
Mhm.
puts
in the
his
ship,
hand.
he showed his hand over it, this and that. So, and it looked like a natural move. It didn't come out like very stiff
Yeah.
or, very, so he did a good job in that scene. So I think, again, part of that in that movie, since it was filmed so dark, you couldn't appreciate many of the performances.
The dude could have been acting like fucking Oscar Schindler. So fucking good. We couldn't have fucking seen it because it's fucking pitch fucking black. So essentially, Deck he witnesses his brother being brutally killed by his father, and the ship is launched towards Genna, and he has to hunt, or he claims he's going to hunt the Kalisk. And yeah, Genna. Predpool, what was your thoughts? Does this make Pandora look like fucking Carolosh from the Care Bears, do you think? Or is it on the same fucking level?
Yeah, I enjoyed the design of the planet and the creatures, and the whole idea that pretty much every creature is out to whether it be plant or mammal or bird, etc. All of them are predatory to a certain extent. So yeah, and the creature designs were really good. I think whoever designed it was kept in mind, saying, okay, this planet is this way, so they're going to have some of them are going to have certain defense mechanism. Yeah, no complaints as far as Jenna. I know, again, I thought it was, you can distinguish Jenna from Joutra Prime. They look different planets to me. So, but I'm sorry, what are you gonna say?
Yeah. Had you any particular favorite creature like stand out?
I was kind of wanted to see more of that that octopus looking thing that was going through the trees. So that one, because it kind of reminded me a little bit from Alien Earth, the Oculus. It's not the same creature, but it had kind of like that same feel as that one. So I kind of wish that was more of a threat. Seen more. But that was my favorite creature. I like the Kalisk, but the Kalisk is pretty much the main, threat or the main goal. But as far as aside from the Kalisk, that octopus one was the one that I really liked.
Yeah, it was cool, and it
the
was
Luna
funny
bug.
because the name, because you're thinking, oh, it's probably some cute little firefly fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Larry, what did you think of Genna, and had you a favorite creature out of its bestiary?
Genna, aka Australia, you mean?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, it's basically Australia. Everything wants to kill you. No, I thought it was cool. I like that every other scene you basically, like, even I guess there's one scene where they show like the mountain, and then like one of those things is flying by, and all of a sudden like the bottom of the mountain like eats the bird. Like
Yeah,
it's just panning back and it's showing you the scenery, and then it's just that one little, like, unless you're like really looking at everything, you'll miss it. But
I saw it.
I thought it was really cool. Like I like the razor field, like the grass that was like razor blades. I thought that was cool. With that, I can't remember what the name of that thing. The bison, the full name of it.
Bone bison.
Bone bison.
Bone
Yeah, I
bison,
thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I would say probably the Kalisk was probably my favorite though, just because like I like the look of it, and just the unkillable, as they called it. You know what I mean? Like I thought that was probably like that was like legit. But no, all of them were cool. I like the designs of all of them. I thought it was my wife at one point turned over to me. She's like, "Are those the trees?" I'm like, "Yeah, the trees are, it's like Lord of the Rings. The trees are attacking now." But No, I thought it was good. I really liked the design of it.
It's interesting as well because like there's some of the stuff did make you think of Alien Earth, and you're like, are they trying to
Mm.
connect it to that in certain ways? And go on.
Well, see that. So see, that's the thing. That's the thing. I was talking with somebody before I saw this. They were asking me. It was like a coworker. He was asking me like, I wonder how they captured all those things in Alien Earth. I was like, well, I think they kind of say it in this one because it's basically synthetics that go.
Yeah.
And they were gonna go capture this callus, right? Like there was no humans. So I think that's a sort of like a nod to that. I would say. I mean,
I
at least
think in
that's what I took from it.
in Alien Earth, I think that they mentioned they had a lot of casualties.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
But
and
but
what-
it I do like the fact this movie does take the piss and somewhat criticize the Alien movies. Yeah, after so many missions that sended humans off to fucking die, we said, you know what, let's send robots. Like we sent the Nostromo and we sent the Sulaco, and people kept dying. So let's just send robots, you know. So I liked that as well. I like that gag. Like it's interesting. It's a cool design for the planet. It's a kick-ass fucking design for the planet.
Mhm.
And I think that, you know, it's there's only so many times that we can fucking have the Predator go up against the Xenomorph. And I'm shocked. I'm glad. And I'm impressed with the restraint that was shown, that we didn't get a Xenomorph in this, because I was like, we're gonna have fucking Xenomorph. And apparently we were. They came close. There was going to be a post-credit scene, but he decided against it.
Good.
But
Good.
yeah, it's a scary fucking planet. What, Eric? What did you think of Genna?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. Like Larry brought up, you can't even fucking walk out into the grass. You know what I mean? When Deck's flying down, like he's in his little escape pod or whatever you want to call it, we see him on screen, and within 10 fucking seconds, like a goddamn like pterodactyl or whatever is trying to eat him. You know what I mean? So there is no safe place on the ground or in the air, and I loved it. And with it being sci-fi and with it being on another planet, you know, I said it before, you know, the gloves are off. You can do whatever you want.
Buck Wild.
And yeah, and I think they did a great job. I love the look of it. And it just kept building up and up and up. And then I just kept thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, what's next? You know what I mean? What's next? You know, he's getting attacked by, you know, an octopus in the trees, and, you know, the trees themselves. And, you know, when Thea, she called it the vulture's nest with the big giant bird creature. And then now he can't walk in the grass. So like, what else is there? But it served a purpose, because I don't know what Dex actually said. He says, like, you know, failure is not an option or something like that. So he learned, you know, okay, I'm going to cut down the tree to be able to get over the grass type of thing. So all this stuff wasn't just dangerous for the sake of being dangerous. It actually helped the story in a way. And favorite creature, I think I really liked that. I just drew a blank. It looked like a rhinoceros, the bone.
Yeah, the bison.
Bone
The
Bison.
bone bison. Yeah,
Yeah, the
I
bone
liked him a
bison.
lot because it looked like a rhinoceros charging. But then when you get closer, it just fucking opened its head up with that little mouth and tongue type of thing. I really
It
loved
ended
the
up
look of
looking
that.
like an elephant then, like
Yeah.
with the fucking, that kicked arse.
Yeah.
Again, I liked how also layered this ecosystem was, because the pterodactyl didn't fucking, the second time the pterodactyl attacked, it didn't initially attack Deck. It fucking picked up rocks and dropped them into the field
Yes.
to irritate the flowers. And I'm like, that's fucking, but this thing has done this. This thing, like crows, you know, the way crows will drop fucking pebbles into a fucking bucket to get water to rise up so it can drink water, like that. It was a creature that had learned how to fucking hunt. And again, it's a layered ecosystem. It's as Eric said, this shit isn't just fucking like this for the sake of being cool. It works. Its form follows function, and I think that was a great thing about the planet. Monty, Genna, your favorite creature and your thoughts on the planet.
Oh yes, this definitely makes Pandora. Is we heard Stephen Lang's opening salvo on Avatar. He says, "It wants to eat you and spit you out for juju beans. You couldn't even step on anywhere on Jenna, and the trees will get you. If the trees don't get you, the bugs will get you." It's like 'cause that's why I said in my review, it's one of the most dangerous planets I ever saw. I thought it was great that they stuck Dex on there as he learns how to fight and survive. Obviously, my favorite creature, I think she called it a forest stalker. That was a brilliant the creature design right there. How he just moves in between the trees like octopus on the trees. He got this huge gaping mouth that
Mhm.
he's about to eat Dex and Thea on, but then Bud comes and saves them. Yeah, the whole thing was great. I really loved it. Jenna was a fantastic idea to put them on.
It
Yeah,
was it was such a dangerous planet. Even the fucking grubs exploded. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I like
Yeah.
he's like, whoa. He just his reaction to it is like, what fuck.
Yeah.
Now
But
imagine the creatures inside the lakes and the oceans of that planet.
Yeah.
I know.
That would be crazy.
jeez, imagine going down there as a human and you're like, God damn, I gotta take a shit and trying to wipe your ass with a leaf. Like you blow your legs off or something like that. It's like, shit. Fucking hell.
That's
But
why they
yeah,
decided to send
it
the
was
synthetics. You know, they don't have to go to the bathroom.
Well, just look at that. It's just like that toy, like when
Oh,
the synthetic, it's like, oh, it's a map, and then like he ends up blowing his head off, and then she's like,
pop.
that's a toy.
It's a Yautja toy. Yeah.
That was good.
he's like, how do you think how I lost this fang?
Yeah.
So Deck ends up trekking across the planet and he bumps into Tia. So Eric, what's your thoughts on Tia, both positive and negative, if you have either or both?
I thought she worked really well with Deck because Deck isn't going to talk a lot. And no offense to a lot of people, you know, it would be cool just to see a predator. Like if it was two predators and they were talking to each other, I wouldn't mind them talking their language. But if it's just Deck walking around by himself, it's going to be kind of boring. You know what I mean? You know, there's going to be scenes where he's not dealing with the flora and the fauna, so he needed someone to work off of. And I thought Elle Fanning did a really good job being that person, trying to get to know him, frustrating him. I really liked that. How, you know, she's trying to get the information, be bubbly, have a conversation. He just wants her to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? And it worked well with the two of them. I thought they had really good chemistry when it came to, I don't want to say the emotional stuff, but you know, the more dramatic stuff, learning about family, learning about his backstory and things like that. I think it worked out really well. And like I said earlier, a lot of people found her annoying. I said, well, I don't think she's any worse than Bill Paxton's character was. You know what I mean? Because I think he was really in your face too, and I think she was like him, turned down a little bit. I thought it was easier to deal with her in a predator situation than Paxton, you know, dealing with Harrigan. You know what I mean? So I thought she
Yeah.
did a really good job.
It was essentially kind of a buddy cop kind of
Mhm.
thing where you have like, you know, the fucking stoic cop and you've the one cracking wise and that did work. And as Trachtenberg has said in interviews, he wanted to do kind of Conan the Barbarian or Mad Max, but as you pointed out, Eric, you can't have like unless you're doing a Kurosawa movie, you can't have like a silent protagonist for
Right.
the majority of it, and it works and it makes sense. And ironically, I do think, ironically, the most organic thing to do is to include a synthetic, because,
Mhm.
like, if, as you said, you couldn't. I don't think a predator would show as much respect to a human as he approached. Yeah, oh, this is a GPS for me. I can just fucking slit in my back and away I go. So I
Mhm.
think that was another kind of way in as well. Monty, what did you think of Tia?
It was very good. I like the banter between he and Dex. Like I said before, you can't have just a predator, a silent a person be the lead. You have to have some type of communication that the audience can see. And so I thought they did a great job. I actually thought that Dan did a good job, and the screenwriter, I can't remember his name right now, did a great job in making sure that they had great banter with each other. So I really had no problem with Thea. I thought Ellen Fanning did a fantastic job. I didn't even mind some of her little jokes, and she wasn't annoying like some people thought she was. Put it this way, I didn't even find Bill Paxton's annoying. He just being his own character. So, like I said, I thought
it's
really had no problem. I liked the contrast between Thea and Tessa. I thought that was fantastic. So, because there's one point in the film when they're in the forest and the trees are about to get her, and she just grabs it. I thought that was fantastic. So
That's
I
pretty
liked
cool.
the back and forth. So, yeah, no problem with Thea. The Alien Family did a great job in the film.
I did like the kind of the differences between the two, and the dichotomy worked, except I did find it was a bit fucking, I don't know how to explain it, but it did feel like, that was another Disney-esque kind of thing. The parallels between the two sisters. I was like, okay, we're going a bit Disney here, but not kind of arduously so, not fucking nausingly so. So it's not, it wasn't terrible, but I feel that when the two of them were together, I just they could have done something a lot more interesting with these two synthetic characters. But that's just my opinion. Predpool, what's your thoughts on Tia?
With Thea, from seeing the previews, I already kind of prepped myself, expecting, okay, she's going to be the comic relief. So when I saw her in the movie, it didn't bother me because I already had mentally, this is what's going to be, and it wasn't like overwhelmingly annoying or anything like that as far as her role, as far as her personality. Now there is something that I found cool and annoying at the same time. It was like an odd moment for me. It was her legs. Her legs with the action sequences, like going all over the place. I mean, like the stunts or whatever, the combat of her legs was was entertaining, and it was like, wow, that was cool. But then at the same time, my brain's like, but wait a minute, these are just her legs running around without a camera, knowing what to do, and she's over there in another part, and it's like it was throwing me off in the sense that it was cool at the same time. I like what was happening, the action sequences, but at the same time, it's like, but wait, they're split. It's two different, and you don't see other sense split in half, and where their legs are doing different things too, and this and that. Why is she so special that only she's the one that her legs can do this stuff? It didn't happen with Bishop, didn't happen with other synth that was split in half. Their legs didn't do moving around aimlessly, at least. So it seemed odd to me that they
I
decided to make it such a huge like action sequence just with her legs split apart and being able like a different almost, and she's even like they get like the hand and foot clap thing to
yeah, the
each
high
other.
That
So
made me laugh.
I was
I
like,
loved it. I
I was
laughed.
I mean,
giving it fucking leeway. I was giving it leeway till she fucking high-fived her foot, and I'm like, oh, that's a bridge
I mean,
too far, sir. A bridge
think-
too
I
far.
think
I liked it. I liked
I think
it.
I blinked.
I like that. I
I
thought
think
that
I
was
blinked
funny.
during that time or something because I totally missed that part.
I didn't
when they did
hate
that.
it, but at the same time, I wasn't like, okay, it just was too much for me as far as that, the whole.
I do
But
have a theory
as
though,
for,
Fredful.
uh-huh.
I do have a theory. I mean, this is ahead of Resurrection. Bishop was an older model. This is a newer model.
Yep.
Yeah,
Plus, this one also has the emotions. It's special. Dia and Tessa are special compared to the other regular synths. They've kind of made that point. So maybe that's why. That's kind of how I. That's how I kind of like gave it leeway.
But the thing is, like, even when the legs showed up, the other thing, some of them looked at it like, huh? Like they were like
Yeah.
confused, like they didn't understand what's going on either. It's like, they see these legs move around, they sound like, can do that? So it's like it just seemed kind of, but her as a character, I think like some of you mentioned, she was neat in a way needed. It didn't bother me as much as I thought it would, as far as her comic relief parts and so forth. So I'm okay with her.
Again, the action sequences were with the legs were fun and cool, but they were pushing the boundaries. But when she high-fived her foot, I'm like,
I laughed. I liked it. I don't care.
okay.
I know.
I must have missed that. Like
Larry, you expunged it from your conscious. It was just that traumatizing.
it might have been one time. It might have been a time when I looked over at my wife or something, and I might have missed it because I've already heard like you all mentioned it. And I was like, I don't remember that part.
It was like right after the legs. It was like on somebody's shoulders, and it did like a slow motion backflip and beat up the synthetic, and then they high-fived basically.
See, I remember that part with the legs like doing that Black Widow thing.
Mhm.
I remember that part, but I don't remember the whole like the foot 5 thing. I don't remember that.
Larry, what did you think of Tia?
Somebody put it best, and when I thought of it this way, it kind of like, okay, that's kind of cool. I was watching another review of it, and somebody mentioned Apple from Turbo Kid.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I can see that. Let's, because she was really, really out there when I saw that movie, but she was so adorable and everything. Fanning wasn't that. I mean, she was kind of like annoying at some parts, but they didn't go full blown like Drax, and I'm happy that they didn't do that. I felt like it got to a certain point, and I was just like, oh man, she's getting there for me. She's like just getting there, like it's like it's gonna be full on annoying, but then it's almost like it kind of toned down, and then it would start going up, and then it would tone down. Like it was like they were pushing the boundary to get there, and then like they knew when to pull back. So I was like, okay, I'm like, as long as we didn't get full blown Drax and Guardians 2, then we're good. I was fine with it. But I did love the difference between Tessa and Thea. Tessa was like really, really cold, like calculated. Even the emotion that when Thea tells her like, oh, we're sisters, and you see it in her face, like she gets like emotional, like she gets teary eyed, and then she just like no, like I had to save you or whatever, and so I was there for the mission, and she just got so cold, and like that was like, wow, that's pretty savage, man.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how Tessa was like fucking. She was duplicitous as well to Will and Yutani when she was like, "Oh, the Yautja died," and like she took all the fucking Predator weaponry, and it's like you could probably do a better job if you give like there's a couple of grenades and a couple other fucking plasma rifles and shit there. You could give the other synthetics that stuff. She's like, "No, fuck that. I'm keeping it for myself."
I like her like a real business person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Big Carter Burke,
Yep.
she wants her fucking share. So Tia and Dek make it to the original encampment, and Dek encounters the Kalisk, and the fucking. This is another thing, and I get it. I understand as well that you can't just have Dek fucking take out the creature so easily. The regenerative kind of properties of the Kalisk, it's a cool idea because it makes sense why Will and Yutani wants to have it for a pharmaceutical angle, or even fucking injecting soldiers or Marines or whatever with that would be
or breeding a bunch of Xenos.
Yeah.
Because imagine if it continually breeding Xenos, it will never die. You can put as many face huggers on it as you want. It just one pops out, regenerates, put another face hugger, so you can produce as many Xenos as you want with that thing.
And then you have the other fucking problem of the Xenos taking the traits of the fucking host.
Yeah.
Fucking Xenos growing back fucking. One thing I did like was the designation for the Kalisk was double X designation, same as the Xenomorph. XX121 Xenomorph. So it technically the Kalisk could be a Xenomorph. All non-sentient life are designated Xenomorphs in the alien universe. It's just that's the only kind of creature we've seen thus far to get that designation.
But it's like, isn't like 300 numbers down? So the Xenos like 100 something, and this Kalisk is 400 something. So they've got like 300 other creatures in the middle between them.
So it's pretty cool. But Monty, what did you think of the Kalisk?
It was an interesting creature. I knew there was going to be something about the callus that was going to be reviewed that makes him the apex predator and why he was so difficult to kill and why did Dex's father fear him. And the fact that it replicates that fast, I said, that's fascinating, interesting. So I thought the creature was very dangerous. I liked the design of the callus. Thought that was very frightening. It fights very well for a creature that's on four legs. I love the fight scenes between Dex. Dex actually fights it very well, but unfortunately, he had to learn about it. It's like, what the hell? If he could actually curse or mouth like when Blade turns around and sees Deacon Frost reorganize himself, he goes, what the fuck? I can see Dex saying the same thing when he sees after he chops the head off. And he thinks he's won, and all of a sudden, just really attaches his head. He turns around and says, what the fuck?
They could have done that. They should have done that with a translate. Maybe had you the FUCK in the Yautja language. They should have fucking done that.
If Dex actually learned how to curse in Yautja and have him say that, but yeah, I really like the design of the callus. I thought it was a great design. I thought they did a great job of showing how such an intimidating creature that he is. Kind of reminds me of the Panther from Pandora that chases his whatchamacallem.
Tanator. The Tanator, yeah.
The Tanator, yeah, reminds of that, yes. Yeah, so yeah, I really did love the cow. So I thought it was a great creature design.
Yeah, it kicked arse. And we'll get to the twist later on. Eric, Kalisk, what's your thoughts on it?
Overall, I really enjoyed it. I am glad it had regenerative powers because it did have that. I love the scene where it grows its tail back. It reminded me of like a salamander or something like that. So I loved how vicious it was. I love the size because, like Monty says, you got to remember Dex's dad is afraid to hide it or to hunt it too. You know what I mean? So there's got to be a reason. I'm kind of torn on how. It does have regenerative powers, but it can even grow its fucking head back. I'm kind of torn on that. I think that makes it a little too strong, in my opinion. It's a great what the fuck moment. Like, what is Dex going to do to be able to destroy this beast? You mentioned the twist. I knew something was up when it pounces on Dex and we get that really close-up look of its face and it starts sniffing him. I knew right away what the twist was. And lack of a better term, when we get that close-up look of its face, it looks too cute for me, if you know what I mean. But overall, I do like the design. I wish it wasn't as strong as it was, but it's also, on a planet where the grass can fucking kill you, so it made sense.
Yeah, it was a kick-ass design. But I kind of guessed the twist as well, because when it first comes out of the jungle, it has a kind of simian gorilla kind of gait, and I'm like, oh, okay, because it's like a silverback gorilla. It's on fours, but it's the way the lower back is. The back legs are shorter and the front legs are hunched like big fucking arms. I'm like, that's very gorilla-like, and I'm like, oh, so that's I kind of clocked that early on. Predpool, what was your thoughts on the Kalisk?
Yeah, I thought it was for a new creature being introduced into the Pred or even the alien universe. I think it's a decent one. Just kind of like Eric mentioned, as far as the head. When that happened, I was like, I didn't hate it, but it was surprising, but not like a surprise. Like, oh my god, that's the coolest thing ever. I was like surprised, like, oh really? Okay. His head can come back on, and I mean, when he cut off the head and I see thing regenerating, I thought it was going to be like a new head in a way. But then when I see like it reach out for his skull, so that it reattaches, I'm like, oh, that's different. Okay, so it made me, after I watched the movie driving home, or even yesterday, I was like thinking still about that scene. I'm like, what if they cut off the head and they drag it out in time? Does it die, or does there like a time limit type thing? Say Deck was there with a hunting party and they took the head immediately, and what happens? Does it still regenerate? So it's just like it raised more questions. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and would they have to do the Hydra thing and burn the fucking neck and burn the head wound to make sure that it couldn't reconnect or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, and it made me think, okay, so if he can do that, and then at the end when he is supposedly destroyed with the ice grenades and so forth, all shot into a whole bunch of million pieces, just like the T-1000, wouldn't he technically, once he thaws out, start reconnecting again, and then
just bring him next to a furnace. Just fucking scoop him up and
exactly. Well, so can Deck probably go? If they go back to the planet, they'll reunite the daughter and the mom. Seeing that the mom actually got back together, all in the pieces. It's just if it has that heightened regenerative thing where it can reattach its head, it should be able to then survive that explosion. That's all I'm saying. It'll probably take some time, but
they're carrying it around in a doggy bag and just waiting for it to do its thing, as it's flying around the space.
But
it makes you wonder how, if Deck would have been able to bring its skull back. You know what I mean? I think it would have been impossible for him to do so. Think about it. As a trophy.
Yeah, I mean, is the head still, alive in a way? Is this, he's carrying the head, and the head's like, he takes it on the ship, and it's still shaking around.
Yeah, Dad, so, go check out my trophy. Lock the door. Lock the fucking door.
Well, but as far as the overall design of the creature, I thought it was pretty cool. I like the design.
I'm with you and Eric. I do think the puppy dog guys did take from it a bit, but obviously they wanted to try and give the connection to Bud. And as I said, guys, the banner at the bottom, the spoiler is Bud is essentially a juvenile version of the Callus.
At first, I thought Bud was the Callus. It just grew because he separated from the group. We don't know how quickly he grows and ages. I thought that was initially Bud, and it didn't realize who he was until it smelled the spit that it spit on Dex earlier. So that's what I thought the initial twist was. To be honest,
yeah. I like the design. I just think maybe tweak the eyes or the features a wee bit more. Larry, what's your thoughts on the Callus?
I thought it was cool. I like the design of it. It's funny. I had this discussion. Me and my wife had this discussion when they cut the head off. Like, this was after the movie. Like, she was like, I thought it was gonna, like, the head was gonna grow another body, or like the head was gonna grow out of and then what would they have done? And I was like, yeah, that would have been nuts. I think sort of like a lizard. Like you cut off a piece of and it just grows it back. I thought that was. That's what we were thinking. We're like, oh man, it's growing a second one, and but no, when it just kind of stretched out and pulled the head. And to kind of go off of what Predpool was saying, I'm curious if they would have taken the head and like gone, like, say for example, like 10 miles, would have stretched like the 10 miles to go get to the head,
Get it into the fucking ship.
You see it trying to like go in space, like you still see it trying to like stretch out there.
Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
No, the other thing I thought was in regards to the twist. As soon as like it was smelling him, and it kind of like, that's when I knew. I was like, oh, is that are they? And then that's when I told my wife, I was like, I think they're related, maybe because she smelled like maybe the Callus smells the stuff on Deck. So, but no, I thought it was cool. I did like the design of it. I didn't really see it as the puppy dog thing until later on at the end when you see Bud again. At the end when you see Bud again, it's like, oh, okay, I can see more of the same features. So I sort of want to say that part of it. And the other thing, given the what y'all were talking about, I'm kind of curious if the Callus did reform, because at the end of the film, I mean, Bud is larger. So time is, I would imagine, I was going to pick y'all's brains about this. Do you think time had passed before he went back for revenge on his father?
I think so.
like a
I
good
think
amount
so.
of time because the when you see Bud is like way bigger.
Yeah, because
You know?
they also had to repair his ship, his brother's ship. So I'm pretty sure some time passed.
I'm-
It doesn't really say how much time it passed, but I'm pretty sure time has passed. They had to repair his brother's ship to get back to Yautja Prime.
Plus, Deck was
he-
a lot better fighter than
Mhm.
you know.
he
Yeah,
had
so
to
imagine
forge
he
the
was still
armor and stuff as well.
and fighting with still the creatures on that planet to survive. Still, I mean, the creatures still stay there, all the other ones. So
Mm-hmm.
But we're getting ahead. I'm sorry, guys. It's just one of those things where like
No,
it's been on my
Jesus.
it's been on my
No.
mind since I saw it last night. So I was just kind of curious what other people thought was like. Am I crazy to think like there was a time jump, you know, or there was some time lapse between him going back to get revenge and
No,
stuff?
it would make sense because it never really establishes how long it takes him to get to Genna from Yautja Prime at the start of the
Mhm.
movie. So you know, as you pointed out, there's a number of things. Tia, her body, the scarification and stuff seems to have been repaired to a better degree. His armor, he has forged proper armor, whether it's stuff that was in the brother's ship, and again the ship itself. It wasn't totally trashed, but it probably would have taken a while to fucking kind of get airborne and get through the asteroid belt as well. So yeah, that there is a passage of time. Eric, what's your thoughts on the inclusion of Will and Yutani on the planet and just in the movie in general?
I was all for it. I have no problem. I mean, these two franchises, you know, they've been together since what, the early 90s, you know, with the comics. But again, looking at it outside of the lore, I mean, we've got, whether you like them or not, we've already gotten the two movies. People like the two creatures. I'm glad that it was self-contained, Wayland Yutani. It still had the cold business aspect of it. You know what I mean? They're here to take these creatures and learn from them, you know, and stuff like that. But I'm glad they did not involve anything in, you know, like what I call the Ripley universe. We didn't have anything to deal. We had no mentions, at least I didn't, of those incidents. I'm glad it was more of a self-contained Wayland Yutani story, if that makes sense. You know, we still had the synthetics, which is a requirement. We still had Mother, which was a fun little addition, stuff like that. But I'm glad it was like with Dex, it was its own thing in this film.
It didn't.
I think he.
It didn't interfere too much with the universe.
Right.
You're right, Marty.
Yeah. Again. Yeah. No.
I think Mother got him.
Just that there's a wee bit of lag, guys. Apologies to him. Larry, what the franchise?
I think you need to repeat that, Marty. You froze and then your audio caught up. So
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Larry? What did you think of Will and Yutani's inclusion in the movie?
For all intents and for all that it was in, I mean, I think I guess it's kind of, it was used right. It was used. I can't really, sparingly is not really the word I can use because it's like, you know, it's front and center. That's basically the other villain in this film. But I like that it wasn't, you know, it wasn't connected to. They don't mention Ripley. They don't mention like other, you know, stuff like that. I think I like that it's still the company. It's just Wayland the company. You know, they didn't shoehorn in like stuff. You know what I mean? Like you didn't see like files of like Ripley or Nostromo or anything having to do with any of the other films or anything like that. There was no black goo. There was no like, you know, there's no callbacks to that. It was just, this is Wayland. The only thing that I felt was a callback was that big power loader. It was the sounds of the power loader. Like I thought that was really cool, even though it was like way different. You know, but no, I liked it. I think that it made sense, you know. It definitely
Yeah,
made sense.
it's again, it works for the time jump as well. Like
Mhm.
again, putting it so far in the future, even past resurrection, you're going to avoid fucking mingling stuff or getting kind of mired with the prior movies. And it also shows that look, fucking Wayland Yutani can only go after an acid bleeding fucking insect for so long. They're like, look, we got to
Right.
find some other fucking shit, man. So yeah,
It's nice that sorry Marty, but it's nice, like I mentioned my daughter earlier, how she doesn't really know anything about it, but she was interested in Prey. It's first, there are people out there that have not seen the Alien films. If, like, say my daughter came in, she sat down, she watched this, she just knew it was an evil corporation. So it worked in that aspect too, to people that don't know the Alien films as well. So it could work for newbies as well.
Predpool, what did you think of Will and Gitani being included?
I think it was great. Again, I'm a big AVP fan, and yes, you guys mentioned there's no mentions of Xenos and so forth like that or any alien movies, but we all know that Weyland Yutani originated with that license. So seeing it here in the Preds gives me hope down the road that we can see that crossover of more official. I think it's a smart move, in my opinion, that the Predator license and the Alien license, they are kind of cross-referencing each other to a certain point right now, because I think they're trying to revitalize both licenses. They've been at either dry spell or perhaps some of them had disappointments, like The Predator, So if you're trying to get into the Alien and say you aren't too happy with some aspect of it right now, but then you see Predator, Badlands, and Wayland's in there, you're like, okay, I still want to be involved in the Xeno alien world and these other shows, movies, etc. Because I like what they did here in Predator. My interest is still being maintained. So both licenses are working together to support each other. Not at this point right now, not so much so grossly in your face, but is there like okay, here's a hint here, here's a hint there. We're helping each other out to build these franchises to become something bigger. We make it against something that's culturally impactful, like it was in the 80s and 90s.
It made me want to revisit the Alien franchise. Watching a Predator film and seeing the inclusion of Weyland Yutani made me want to go back to see those movies too.
Exactly. So I think that's a smart move they're doing right now, right now.
Now I have a couple questions given that question, Marty. I have two questions for you, or for everybody actually. One being, everyone here's seen Alien Earth, right?
I have not.
Yeah,
I have.
I don't care about spoilers, so go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's not too much of a spoiler for Alien Earth. It's just in Alien Earth they talk about the five companies, the five major corporations. What if they had it not been Wayland and it would have been one of those five companies? Because for me, watching them mentioning the five corporations in that show, I was more left with, wow, who was the other ones? Who are the other three? Because we know of two, but who are the other three? Like, I thought that would have been kind of cool. Like, that would have been kind of cool, but it's still, unless you saw Alien Earth, you wouldn't really understand that. And then, but yeah, go ahead, Red Bull.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I think to answer that question, and that Marty, he covered it a little bit earlier, the timeline and so forth. Like a lot of these corporations, I think by this movie in Badlands, they don't exist anymore. So what he had mentioned was that based on comics and novels, by this time it's really Wayland is the main corporation that's been around. Correct me if I'm wrong, Marty.
Yeah, no. Well, as I said before, the corporations had fucked up so many colonies that the colonial administration is like, okay, there's no privatization anymore. You either fucking toe the line, and the companies that toed the line were like, okay, we're not making enough money. Let's just fucking liquidate. And Will and Yutani are like, okay, yeah, we're disappearing. They disappeared for a couple hundred years and then fucking obviously resurfaced. So that's what happened here. Now, the other thing too, Larry, is again, my issue, even with this, I still have issues with it, but Hawley's fucking Alien Earth he's come out and just said this is not connected to any of the movies. He says this is doing its own thing. Like, he's fucking saying it's not even connected to the 79 movie. And I'm like, okay, it's like, it's going to be
happening before?
interesting. Huh?
And it's happening, and it's supposed to be happening before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But even he's not very clear as far as the real time frame on it. He keeps like switching it around and so forth. So
Yeah,
it's like, you know.
It's annoying because this okay, he's not acknowledging it, but apparently this movie the series takes place a year before or 2 years before Alien, right? And there was this mission that was sent 65 years prior. The ship that was sent 65 years prior is Wayland Yutani. It's a Wayland Yutani ship. That merger didn't occur till between the first and second movie. They shouldn't be fucking merged. That ship shouldn't have fucking Wayland Yutani iconography. I don't think he was given any kind of fucking Bible or reference material. He was told, yeah, do what you fucking want. I say what you will about Fox, and people bitch about continuity, or don't be so fucking sacred on continuity. At least there was some fucking streamlined continuity there. With this series, he's playing Jack the Lad with what's canon and what's not fucking canon. Like, you know,
Well,
it's
I mean, he did the same thing with Legion.
yeah.
But I
Like-
love that show. I really enjoyed Legion, even though it was not, the continuity was not the same as the comics, but it was a really good show. So that part I'm kind of like, okay, I can kind of see that, but it just from all the stuff that he was saying prior to the show coming out, or prior when he was first making the show, like, oh, it's going to be, you know, set before this, and you know, he even mentioned in an earlier article that the xenomorph was not even going to be seen in the first season, and then
Yeah.
we see the show and it's like right there. So like I'm kind of like, okay, well, you know, clearly
He-
from the beginning he's been like changing everything. I'm
Yeah.
sure because people told him like, no, we have to have a Xeno in this, you know.
But he's fucking with the timeline and continuity to facilitate fan service. Because, for example, in the later episodes, there's guys carrying smart guns and pulse rifles. And again, this is 2 years prior to Alien. Okay, they're carrying pulse rifles and smart guns. And okay, we'll say it's the Alien timeline. That's 57 years before the events of Aliens. That would be like if your US Marines were carrying Thompson submachine guns and shit from World War fucking II. Why would they be carrying arcane fucking weapons in Aliens? The shit, like, if the Marines in fucking Aliens are carrying antiques, if we're going on that fucking logic, then it's just, I don't know. Sorry, that fucking series is a fucking mire pit. I'm going to have to dedicate an entire episode to this.
My other question to you all, going back to like, you know, we all were kind of happy that they didn't include any xenomorphs in this film, right? In Badlands.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I thought of, like, and I thought about it right now, was just that, remember at the beginning where they showed like another planet, and then they showed the death planet, right?
Right.
On the hologram, like which one to choose. Would y'all have been like mad if they would have shown like a planet and then like a Xeno queen or something?
Well,
Like,
you know
just
they show Nuru, right? The Indian girl. She was on the hologram.
Yeah, Naru
Oh, really?
was on.
I didn't
really?
catch that.
No, I missed that.
Yeah, I missed that too.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't
And
have made sense though, right?
it would
What?
have if she was still on fucking ice.
Yeah, but
They
why
have a-
would he be? How would he be hunting her then if she was on ice? Unless
Well,
they're alluding that she.
Well, no,
Escaped
no,
or
because
whatever.
it's probably like Amazon. They order her and they drop her on the planet, and then they hunt her.
Yeah, no,
That's
no,
what
to
it
be
is.
honest-
Delivery service.
Which one you like? Yeah, I like that one. Let's go order it. Like, boop. All right,
Now,
charge for my
then you gotta
account.
wonder, you know, after the Yautja delivered, do they have to take a picture and then email it to you to make sure it's
Exactly.
delivered
Yeah.
The little thing pops up and it's like, you know.
No, they delivered it to the wrong. You know, Naru went to the wrong apartment. You know, this did not go well. Please let me see your supervisor.
This American woman. I ordered
Well, I mean,
a large Austrian man.
Well,
Where's
you
my
saw in
large Austrian man.
wait, but think of it. You saw in Killing Killers, they have a huge factory warehouse full of frozen people. So it is Amazon for
Yeah.
Preds.
Like,
And then they
Like-
probably hire all these young yauchas, for like $10 an hour who don't give a shit. They're too busy on their smartphones instead of doing
But-
their job.
And now let's talk about
Right.
Skynet and AI to take over and they're going to this unemployed Preds everywhere.
just
I mean,
fucking, you just see these predators picking a cryo tube up to someone's door. Fuck this shit.
picture and then like
Someone orders a cute little Native American girl and they get this 75-year-old
God.
strange man instead.
That is definitely a sentence you want to say. A predator orders a cute Native American girl.
Yeah.
You would consider Red and Fake. That's gonna be
Jesus
critical.
I'm fucking I'm fucking taking this as a clip and going to use it.
Please
for something.
do.
I don't know. I'm also City Hunter Love says she was considered worthy prey. Deck wouldn't have couldn't have picked her to hunt. Yeah, there was
He could have,
some
yeah.
cool stuff. There was like a Striacosaurus as well. I don't know if you guys noticed. There was a dinosaur. There's a couple
Yeah.
of ceratopsians and other stuff.
There was a harvester from the Independence Day franchise.
Oh,
was
on the
in there.
trophy case, but
Mhm.
on the hologram when he was picking the tins, there was a kind of.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking. Yeah,
Yeah, but
I'm just curious, like if that would have been their because you see the outline of the callus, right? Like it shows it a little bit. That's why I didn't notice the Naru one. Like I totally missed that.
yeah, I missed that too. Yeah, because I was wondering if they're actually going to show a xenomorph in the hologram, but I missed Naru. Yes.
I wouldn't have minded that because literally it would have been like half a second. So I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that they didn't fight or we didn't see an egg
Yeah,
or a
exactly.
face hugger or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't an egg in a chamber,
Correct.
like in the
Oh, yeah.
background somewhere. Like and then
Mhm.
they kind of like, oh, split second, and then they keep
Mhm.
going. Like they pan over it. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was cool.
If it was literally something like that, because again, it's like the nod to the trophy case. You see the Independence Day alien skull for a couple seconds, stuff like that. That's okay. But if it's an actual physical being that has something to do with the actual movie, I would have been mad, but I would have been like, I wish it would have stayed its own thing, type of thing.
Yeah.
The Predator
I-
doesn't need the xenomorph to have a story.
I like the fact they have the creature from Independence Day, but let's be honest, I don't think it would be a worthy opponent for our Predator. It's essentially like fighting Stephen Hawkins. It's like this fucking
Oh,
it is. It fucking is. It's all the suit. The suit is
who's gonna clip that?
intimidating.
Yeah, I'm gonna clip that one.
You crack that fucker open, and it's just fucking jelly looking thing. The Predator's like, fuck this. How disappointed. I actually made a gag. I made an action figure gag out of that, where I have one of my Predators holding it up, and it's like, this is fucking stupid. It just punches it in the face, like, because again, it's a weakling. The only intimidating thing about the fucking harvesters is their technology. They're
Mhm.
fucking shite otherwise. They're a cool
Well, yeah,
design,
Will
but
Smith
combat
like knocked out the exoskeleton, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Knocked it
fucking
out
But-
punching the exoskeleton. It's like
now,
totally-
but don't they have some kind of mind control too? So wouldn't that be
They
an issue
do.
for Pred?
But
Possibly,
Predpool-
maybe.
Predpool, when the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air can knock the shit out of something, I don't think the Predator's gonna fucking find it too much fucking trouble to take out. That's just my. I don't know.
That,
Am I being-
that is true. He can knock that out. They gotta be weak if it gets knocked out. But Chris Rock can take a punch. So
yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, I guess they didn't keep his wife's name out of their mouth either.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
I plan it out of your mouth. Say shit. So moving on right to the finale, guys. I love the finale. I love that Deck escapes and has this fucking existential crisis, and then Arnie's up. He essentially Arnie's up and he uses Genna
Mhm.
as a fucking weapon. He uses parts of Genna. He uses the blades of grass as the wrist blades. He uses the vines like a whip, like Wolf. He uses
Mhm.
He uses that was Squirt, guys. That was obviously Squirt, the snake thing. The lads
Yeah.
from AVP fucked it up.
Mhm.
But yeah,
So-
it
I need to say something. This was my fear. This was my one major fear. I don't know if y'all caught it too, but when she was like, she said deck, and he was like wolf. I was like, no. I literally I was like, oh no. And then my wife was like, what? I was like, I hope they don't. I hope this is not happening. And then that's why when you confirmed the date, I was like, okay, we're good. I was
yeah,
really
oh no,
hoping,
no,
like,
this is set well after the Gunnison incident. Well
yeah, that's why
after.
I was like, please don't tell me this is supposed to be a retcon of Wolf, and this is his
No, no,
humble
no.
beginning.
This
you
is
know?
when Wolf was just a little cub.
Well,
And this is how.
because the fang was gone,
Yeah.
and then Wolf had the mandible gone.
Yeah.
So it started like when he said that, my head was just like, and then he had the whip thing, and I was like, oh no.
Oh,
I started
No.
like, please
no,
don't
no,
do
no.
this.
He started crying in the theaters. No.
Yeah, I literally,
Why are you
I, was like,
crying?
I literally said like, oh no, and then my wife she was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I just hope they're not. I just hope it's not going where I think it's going. And then sure enough,
I'd say it, Larry. I'd say it best. It was just a nod to the 18 people, the 18 of us who actually kind of like AVPR. That's yeah.
I
But
like it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
It's sort of.
it's fun. What you can see.
yeah, what you can see.
Eric, what did you think of the finale?
Oh, I loved it. I loved his look. I loved how he had the bone bison mask. That was really cool. Yeah, and I'm glad. I don't know if it was you or if it was Larry pointed out that it was the grass that was his gauntlet, because if you remember,
Yeah.
that was broken in the very, very beginning of the movie. So I thought that was really cool. It was the nod back to Arnie, building the stuff in the jungle. I really dug it. I liked the final battle, but this is where I was going to say a lot of people were worried about the PG-13 rating. And this is, when you, me, and Predpool were talking, how it was like, growing up watching Ninja Turtles and G.I. Joe, the foot soldiers were robots, and those were the only thing that died. The bat soldiers were the only thing that blew up. This worked because we got explosions, we got heads getting ripped off, we got them being melted by acid and stuff like that. It worked. It shows that if you don't have the red, you can have the PG-13 rating and still get that violence. And I thought the action was really, really well done. I really dug it. I liked it a lot. And like we were Predpool, we were teasing Marty about, because what he read, he thought that Bud and Squirt were the same thing. You know what I mean? Supposedly, like, he was going to be carrying Bud around like a fucking gun or something like that. I did like how he had that little snake creature as kind of like, I guess you'd say, his shoulder cannon. So he still had the tech, even though he had to make it all from the jungle type of deal. So I thought it was really cool. And I really dug the look of his mask, because one thing I do like about a lot of the Predator movies is the different masks. My favorite is from Predators. I love the Falcon mask. That's my favorite one. And I thought this was a cool little nod to him having his own look, with the bone bison mask.
I'm hoping NECA do like a fucking Genna armored Predator, because we're getting essentially Deck with his kind of regular armor and his helmet and his sword at the start. I hope. Again, how many versions of fucking Feral did we get with just different color schemes? This gives us an opportunity to get like 3 or 4 different versions of fucking Deck, and that kind of natural armor and stuff look cool.
Well, I have a feeling they're going to do that, because I don't think the way that NECA, I guess, announced the recent announcement of Deck, like that figure, they've shown the other figure with, the deluxe version where it has half of Thea, So I'm wondering if that's going to be a solo figure as well, kind of like what they did with I'm going with the Universal Monsters, where they had like, Frankenstein from Bride of Frankenstein, but they also had another version as a deluxe set with the bride, Like, I mean, it wouldn't put it past me that they do another version of Deck.
I have a feeling Tia is going to be like a creature pack, where you get Bud and her, and maybe they'll throw in one of the Weyland-Yutani kind of guns and the snakes or something like that. What did you think of the finale, Larry.
I thought it was good. I was very this was some of the stuff I was going to mention earlier. I really liked I guess the settlement that they had. It was very sci-fi. It reminded me. I remember turning to my wife and be like, "It's Dune," and then she started laughing because I love that tech. I thought it would look, that colony that they had there of the synthetics. It was really, to me, it looked really cool. It reminded me of something out of Romulus, out of Blade Runner, out of Dune. Like, it was just like, man, it's very sci-fi. Like, I was like, man, this is cool. The sci-fi tech in this was like, felt sci-fi. And just the fighting where he, with the basically primitive weapons, which was a big thing for me in Prey, was like the more primitive weaponry that the Pharaoh had. This was even more primitive because he was just basically, he arnied up, and he yeah, I liked all that stuff. I liked the bone mask. I thought that was cool. The little snake eel thing, I thought that was pretty cool. How he fed it, and then that's how he gained its trust. The one thing I was kind of weird about was like the little grub worms that blow up. Like, if he had the one and he had to throw it because it was going to throw up or blow up, how did he get a whole bunch of them without them blowing up? I thought that was kind of weird, but I still thought it was kind of cool.
What I thought was happened, guys. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I kind of, maybe I missed something. But I thought he had attached the grub worms onto the fucking spikes of the plants, and then he had it fucking wrapped in the leaves and shit. He fucked it over his shoulder. I thought that's what happened. That all the fucking the spikes.
No, the spike thing.
No?
He wrapped it in something. Just a spike plant.
Mhm.
Like, he wrapped that in something and he took that. But the grub worms, like, he had those, if I'm remembering correctly, he had them like on like somewhere, and then when Squirt hit it, it started like blowing them up or something like that.
Okay.
If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah,
No,
that's
no,
what
no, no.
happened. There's that one scene where the worms, they were like stuck on
On the sides, right?
on the sides, and that part kind of,
Yeah.
I didn't, with Squirt, wasn't too crazy about, because it's like there was some kind of mental connection between Squirt and Deck, where Squirt knew exactly where to shoot at, and that's what, and that's what Deck wanted. It's just like that bond just was too strong for me. It's not like he even told them, or Squirt just knew, okay, I gotta shoot these worms from my new friend here, because he wants me to blow him up for him, because this guy is cool. So it just kind of seemed, that part seemed a little weird to me, as far as using it as a bio weapon. But you're not done with your turn yet, so I'll wait till I'm fine to share my notes.
But yeah, Larry, you liked the finale as well with the power loader and the
Yeah, I
Callus
thought the
versus
power
no
loader was cool. I liked that they used the actual sound of the power loader, which I guess one of my biggest complaints is like from the 3 predators, and then I guess all the ones that we see, getting ahead, but the roar, man, we didn't get it.
Yeah.
We never heard
Now,
the iconic roar, at least from, even the father. I was like, hoping maybe the father would do it or something, but we didn't get that.
I'm guessing maybe it might be just down to, again, that he's a runt and he's smaller. He doesn't have the fucking oratory capability. But as you said, how come we didn't get it with Jor or the other predators that were there?
Yeah.
Breadpool, what about you? What did you think of the finale? Had you any highlights? Had you any bits you thought were a bit lacking?
No, again, I enjoyed, that was a pretty awesome action sequences. Again, Deck using all these different weapons, basically bioweapons. The kills or dismemberment of the scent was pretty neat. I mentioned earlier about regarding Thea's legs. I found that a little distracting at times. It was cool. It just logically didn't, for me, it wasn't making sense. Just mentioned about the Squirt, with shooting the worms. And the other thing about the Squirt that was kind of like also threw me off, when Telsa threw the plasma cannon that was going to hit Deck. and then Squirt's like, "No, I'll take the hit," and and then sacrifice itself for Deck, and I don't know. It just seemed like that bond was too strong
It
for such a
was a
short
bit.
time.
It
So for
was a bit
me,
silly 'cause I
yeah, I
thought they
would
were going to start playing violin music when Deck is
exactly.
I'm like, what the hell?
What the hell? And Deck, that's when he yelled like, "Ah, no, my snake!" But I would have preferred. I would have preferred that if the blast was coming, Dex is like, "Oh, screw that!" He just grabs the snake and throws it, and use that as he's still a predator. He's still seeing these creatures as tools. So he's gonna grab this thing, throw it at the blast, stop the blast, and save himself at the end of the day. So I think that would have made more sense to me than the snake say, "Oh no, I got you, bud," and go there and.
To be fair, you can also one can also make the argument that the snake was lunging at her, and then
I don't
Mhm.
know.
that's
No. The blast was
that's
coming right
reaching,
out,
though.
and he's like, he looked at.
That would be reaching.
Remember me.
Tell my wife I love her.
Exactly. Feed my children like you fed me. Ah! But the rest of it was awesome. I mean, it was a good way to. I mean, for the most part, it was a good way to end that part of the story.
Yeah. Monty, what did you think of the finale?
Oh, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great battle between Tessa and obviously with Dax, and then the Calyx. I thought it was great. I loved the power loader scenes. Definitely got alien vibes of it. So I really have a problem. I'm pretty sure some people might have a problem with it, but I didn't have a problem with it. Poor Snake. He makes a sacrifice in the end. Yeah, I actually thought that it shows the intelligence of Dex, the fact that he didn't have his weapons, but he was able to take advantage of the environment of Jenna and use it to his advantage. And I thought shows that not only is he a great fighter, he's also a smart one. He's able to take all the tools and the environments and use them as weapons. And I thought, very great fight scenes as well. So I had no problems with it at all. I really did enjoy all the third act.
It was cool. It was cool. I don't know how I feel about the Calyx's death though. Just like fucking eating Tia. I don't know how the fuck. I know she's like a synthetic, but how the fuck was she not grinded up? How did the explosives not fucking ignite as it's fucking chewing her or swallowing her?
I just went with we don't know its DNA, we don't know its organs on the inside, so I just went with it.
Yeah, just have to suspend your belief.
I gotta ask, did anybody catch the nod to Hard Target?
So what part?
What part?
How does it feel to be hunted? You tell me. That's the
exact
line from Hard Target. I was like, I literally like Hard Target? Like, really? Like,
well, Van Damme was meant to be the Predator. Jesus Christ.
He was, yeah.
There you go.
What's next? So the next one we're gonna have the synthetics. I'll have mullets and walking in slow mo and stuff like that.
Doing kicks,
doing stretch. Separated legs. Fucking doing fucking Van Damme kicks.
Dancing in bars.
It's funny because in interviews, Ellen and Demetrius were saying that he literally had to carry Ellen on his back and wired up with pulleys.
I've seen some of the behind-the-scenes photos. Yeah,
they had to edit out her legs in post-production, but he really had to carry her in certain scenes.
Yeah, there's ones where she's held up by wires. There's another one where she's on like a little, I guess you'd say, to bring back Stephen Hawking. We already made fun of him. She's on like a wheelchair or something like that, but her legs, she's wearing like blue legs, so they can edit them out, type of thing. So he was really carrying her. So I thought that was pretty cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say, like, I at least for me, for the most part, I felt like there was one scene in particular where like the mask looked practical, like the Predator face looked practical. Mm-hmm. I mean, I might have been like
there was a couple of scenes because they were showing behind the scenes where he's walking through the river or running through the river with her on his back. That's a practical mask. And there's a couple other scenes. I'm probably myself and Larry are going to fucking probably have a falling out over this. I thought Jor when he's unmasked, I thought it looked shit. I genuinely did. I was like, the level of detail just felt very fucking artificial. I don't know why. Like we've
Well, it's
had
like
Greyback, we've had fucking the Elder. I don't know why, but it felt very fucking like I think
it wasn't
obviously
unique enough.
because y-
It,
it
it
wasn't
wasn't
that it
unique
was
enough.
it wasn't that it was not unique enough. It looked fucking there was no detail, there was no personality to it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I still,
Yeah.
even watching in the movie, like Dex look, I still am not sold on it. Like he
Okay.
looks weird to me. Even the brother, even Quay looked a little bit off
Yeah.
to me. And then he had that like spiky hair thing going on in the middle. I
Yeah.
was kind of like, you know. But again, I was like, when I saw the unmasking, that was the first. I guess the beard thing
The
on the
beard.
dad.
Yeah.
I was like,
Mhm.
interesting. I think that's the first that I've seen a predator with a beard. But
Mm.
Yeah.
I
No,
thought it was kind of cool.
again, it's probably just me. I need to watch it again. I've only seen it once, so maybe it's just a case of fucking a fleeting watch. Monty, give us a rating on the movie. I know you've done it with your review as well, but for anyone watching,
Yeah,
if you don't know.
I gave it 4 out of the Mises, 5 bloody gold coins. 4 out of 5.
Mm,
Yes.
yeah.
I don't know how we rank this yet. I'm trying to see how we rank it. Rank it. I don't know how high I'm going to put it up.
Would it be? Would you say it's definitely better? It's obviously better than 20 the Predator and the two AVP
Oh yeah,
movies.
it's definitely it's definitely better than. It's like this. It's kind of in between because for me it's Prey, the original Predators, and the original Predator, and maybe this would be third when it comes to
Mhm.
ranking the Predator franchise.
Yeah. My own kind of ranking would be it's underneath Predator, Predator 2, Killer, Killers, and Prey.
Mhm.
It's definitely above AVP, AVPR, and Dead Predator. I would, as I said in my review, I'd put it maybe next, yeah, just kind of snugly next to 2010's Predators. Again, another movie set in an alien planet. I think that's fair. I think that would be a fair kind of tier system. Eric, what about you? What would you rate this, and where would you put it on a tier list?
I'm never good with ranking and doing a tier list, but you know what? I think it's a good 4, out of 5. I think it's fun pretty much from beginning to end. That's what I wanted. My my problems with it aren't really problems. You know what I mean? They're nitpicks here and there. The only thing I really was honestly disappointed with was how Deck's father was taken out. I didn't want the fact that he was taken out by Bud. I didn't like that at all. How he was just, his head was bitten off. I think Deck should have decapitated him like what happened to his brother. But again, those are just nitpicks. If I'm gonna put it somewhere in the ranking, I think out of the Trachtenberg trilogy, I think I would put this above Killer of Killers, but under Prey. Um, the reason why
Mhm.
is I wasn't on the Killer of Killers stream, but I think the World War One story was the weakest, and it was so weak compared to the other two being so strong.
Mhm.
So, and then
Yeah.
I got some problems when they're on the Predator planet, how the kid knew how to fly the fucking spaceship right away. No, I mean I know we could suspend disbelief. Come on, this is a human kid. He knows how to fly a Predator ship. That notwithstanding, I think it's the second best of Trachtenberg's films. Predator is always going to be the original is always going to be my favorite. I'm going to go with Predator 2 after that. Then I'll throw Prey. And then kind of like you, Marty, I think it's tied with Predators.
Yeah.
It's definitely I have fun with the Predator. That's just a goofy popcorn movie to me. It's better than the AVP movies, which I do enjoy, both of them. But I think it's probably today I might like Badlands better than Predators. Tomorrow I might change my mind. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's not top 3, but it's right there underneath.
Okay, that's fair. You couldn't ask for any fairer. Larry, what about you, sir?
Well, this one I gave 7 out of 10. I think it was I was very I was you knew me going into this, Marty. I was super like hesitant about
Apprehensive,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah. And no, I actually, after seeing your review and like started hearing all this like different stuff online, I was just kind of like, well, maybe it is, maybe I knew I was gonna go see it, because I needed to see it in on the
Mhm.
theater, Uh, but no, I was very surprised by liking it and all that stuff. I thought the action was good. I have so many, like, I want to see it again. Like, I do
Mhm.
want to watch it again because I feel like there was stuff like the Naru stuff. I know there was things that I missed. That's why, like, but for me to say that, that tells me like I enjoyed the movie. If I ever want to go back and watch it again, I can't say that about the Predator. But like I said, that's the bar for me. It can't be as bad as a Predator in my opinion. But in regards to ranking, I mean, obviously, same 1, 2. I would put Prey as number 3.
Mhm.
I feel this one is right there with Predators, like everybody
Yeah.
else. I feel like it's kind of there. There's a lot more that I like about this one over Predators, but there's also a lot of stuff in Predators that I really enjoy over this one. Like
Mm.
the comedy stuff, those are the things that I can interchange between Predators and this one. You know what I mean? Like the more serious tone of Predators I like more, but also the fake Royce voice, you know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
nitpicks. And then I think after I think Killer of Killers would probably be after that tie, because I
Mhm.
really enjoyed Killer of Killers. I liked it a lot, but I'm with Eric, and I even on the stream that I was on, I talked about it. It's like the World War one was like the weakest to me, and then him being so like, oh, we can do this, guys, on the Predator planet and all this stuff, and not being too like phased by that didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, come on, man, like if I see something like this going on, I'm gonna be freaking out. You know, doesn't I don't
It's
care. I don't care how like I don't care what if I'm in the army or navy or whatever. Like it doesn't matter. Like I'm gonna be freaking out if I see some like weird spacecraft in World War II that I've never seen before. Like I'm gonna be freaking out.
Shit, I'd just be freaking out if I was stuck with the Viking. You know what I mean? Screw the
Yeah.
alien
Oh
shit.
yeah,
you know?
that too.
I love Killer Killers, and I'm still going to hold it above this. But I do see your issues with it. Yeah, it's not a perfect Killer Killers isn't perfect, but by Christ, I think it's one of the most fucking innovative things to come out of the fucking franchise, even more so than this. Predpool, what about yourself? Where would you rank this? Where would you put this? And what would be your
Uh,
score?
as far as the score, I'll start with that. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie. For me, ranking is kind of weird for me because I kind of give it in tiers. Basically, I base it on a movie that I watched from beginning to end, like rewatch it several times from beginning to end. Then I have like a second tier of what I would like watch the movie, but like fast forward to parts that I want to see. I don't want to see all of it, just maybe sections of it. And then the third one will be like I don't want to see the movie. So Badlands, I put in my first tier. I can see myself seeing from beginning to end this whole movie, enjoying the whole movie. In that tier, I have Original Predator. AVP is a guilty pleasure of mine. I will watch that from beginning to end. I've watched it several times with pizza and beer, and I enjoy it from beginning to end. AVP. It's got its issues, but I enjoy it. I can see Badlands in that tier. Um, Predators is also on that tier. I can watch Predators from beginning to end, and that's also another guilty pleasure. So those four movies are in that top tier. Again, some may disagree because they feel designs, whatever, but I enjoy
It's
watching
your
these movies.
tier, man.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I enjoy
Mhm.
I put these movies beginning to end, have not an issue, and enjoy it. Then the second tier will be Badlands, will be Prey. Um, I think, and also Badlands, Prey, Killers of Killers, because there's parts of Killer. Yeah, I love the Japanese part. That one's my favorite section of
Oh, yeah.
Kill of
Mhm.
Killers. I can watch most. I can go through the Viking part. The military part, I really don't care about. World War II. I'm not really into that. And the ending of it, it's okay. The only reason why I like the ending because it's opening doors for the future projects. That's the only reason why. And then Requiem is one. Requiem and The Predator are the ones I will not rewatch. I just Requiem. Let me take that back. I'll go to the wolf parts, but it's not very often that I do that. It's like I think about it, like I want to see wolf, but like, oh, do I really want to put this movie in though? I really want to put this thing because it's so dark. I mean, I want to see wolf, but do I really get to see wolf though? Oh. So
I mean,
it's kind of
even that part at the beginning where on Yacha Prime, like that part is like that's probably my favorite part of the whole film.
exactly yeah.
know?
So and then you think, oh, okay, do I try to find it or whatever, just to see that 5-minute part? So
You just go to
but-
YouTube and you can find it. You can watch it.
Exactly,
That's it.
exactly. So there's that. So that's how I rank as far as the Predator movies for me. So
Where would you put Predator 2, Predpool? Which tier would you
Predator
put
2, I
Predator?
put it in second tier.
Okay.
I like the movie, but there's just I don't know. It was never one that I have to see the whole thing. So again, I will skip to parts of it. Mostly the meat locker area. It's more towards the end. I will watch. I'll see the beginning. When he's introduced. They're going to what the gangs are fighting. I'll see that. Then I'll skip all the way to when again they're having their first fights in the meat locker at Ford. So
Okay. That's fair. Although I adore Predator 2. Predator 2, I think, sets up a lot of the expanded universe.
Still
and
waiting
we've
for
a lot-
that NECA broom lady figure, Marty.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta make. I'll
We
fucking
want
kit
it.
bash that.
well, let me again Predator 2, like you just said, Marty. It opened so many doors for so many reasons. It opened of gaucho culture. It explained, you see how they treat their prey. They're successful. You see their trophy wall. And it opened the doors for the Xenos. So Predator 2 is vital as far
Yeah.
as to where we're at today. So I'm not taking that away from it. But as a whole movie, there's parts that I really don't care to see.
There's bits you can take. There's bits you can leave. I get.
Oh
I
no,
get
Exactly.
but it has one of my favorite lines. You want some candy?
Yeah, that is a good part.
And
Yeah.
it's
At the
got King
cemetery.
Willie. It's got King
You
Willie.
got
So
King Willie.
you don't like
Please,
King
fucking
Willie?
bring it.
We'll throw the bones and see where they lay.
Mr. Policeman.
Yeah.
They
You
say
are
Willie
King
was
pretty
here now.
favors.
When those limousine windows roll down and all that fucking pot smoke just comes out of the Predator again.
Want
guys
some
really should
ganja,
cut back.
man? I love that line.
You know Danny Glover got a contact
Well,
high filming
here-
that scene.
I think with Predator 2, what problem with me was when I watched it as a teenager, I'll start watching it, and my mom will always walk in when the Colombian woman is on top of the Colombian guy. It never fails. Like, it just made a bad memory from that point on. Always,
It's
what?
a sci-fi
Mom, no.
movie, Mom. It's a sci-fi movie.
It's
Exactly.
It's
It's a
integral to the
sci-fi
story.
movie.
Yeah.
It's not porn. It's not porn.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
for me, it's interesting because my uncle took me to go see it in the theater when it came out.
Oh, jeez.
So I was a kid going into seeing it, and I had seen the first one, and I was like, oh, cool, my uncle's gonna take me to see this. And then when that happened, I was like, oh, is this what's going on? I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
Uncle, why is he killing that woman?
he's
My
smothering him to
fucking-
death.
My friend told me a horrific story. So his aunt was a nun, and her convent was
Oh,
going to
God,
see
here we go.
Titanic, right?
Ooh.
And they bought him a ticket. He went to go see Titanic with his nuns. He got a fucking erection during the scene with fucking Rose.
Good night, everybody.
He was like, "What the fuck?" He couldn't stand up. He had to let all these nuns file out before.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, dark.
Oh man.
Oh god. Poor
So
bastard.
I gotta ask the other thing before I guess about the ending. That last scene or whatever with the
Mhm.
whole who's that? My mother.
Mhm.
I thought that was awesome.
I'm
Did-
just waiting for all the people that are losing their shit online saying, Badlands is woke. Wait till they hear that, the female Yautjas are stronger than the males. Just can't wait for that to happen.
They
That's
are.
what-
If
I told that to my wife after, like, I was like, when he says that, and I told my wife, I was like, well, what's important about that is the females are stronger than the males. Like in the lore, like the female predators are like bigger and stronger than the males are. And she's like,
Mhm.
really? And I'm like, yeah. So
It-
I was like, man, that's cool, man. We're gonna see, like, I would imagine some sort of like nod to Big Mama or something like that.
yeah, or
Do they
Too bad-
physically look pretty much the same as the males, or
it,
is there a lot of differences?
It depends on the source. There's
Yeah, you
Big
got-
Mama who is bigger than the males, but then you got other sources that has like the female might be smaller,
Yeah,
more like they're more feminine.
but they are more stronger and agile. And
Okay.
I think it was David Bishop's novel said that 70% of the males die during the mating ritual. 70% of the males die. But so the species aren't decimated. Every 25 years, a female can have a litter of, I think, 15 to 30 sucklings. So it's fucking crazy. And keep in mind, the females live longer as well. They live about 3,000 years. So, like, how
Jeez.
many fucking yeah?
Yeah,
So, yeah, the
you know how many
females are
you know how
fucking-
many Social Security checks they collect from all the husbands they've had.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
mean, I when I was seeing the woke stuff, I was like, I don't know how this movie was woke.
It's people yelling into the void. That's all it fucking is.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Nitwits
They haven't seen the
still-
movie.
Nitwits
and
still
that's why
belongs.
when that whole scene with, like, oh, that's my mom, I was like, all right, man, like I'm ready to see that. You know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
as a knowing the lore and stuff like that. Anybody who knows the lore, then they should know that
Mm-hmm.
the females are stronger. Like, so I can only imagine what they're gonna do
Yeah.
with that.
Mhm.
Also,
They're probably playing
City
Disney
Hunter
for that
Love brought
too.
up- Yeah. City Hunter Love brought up the point is, yes, it's matriarchal society. Most of the commerce, politics, and fucking aspects of the home world are run by the females because the fucking lads are off at Hunting Lodge the whole fucking time. So, like, but yeah, guys, with that, I'm going to finish off here. But before I go, Monty, what is up for the Horror Miser? What's on the channel you want people to check out? And what's coming up on the
My latest Women in Horror series, I actually interviewed a horror author. Her name is Janelle Siki. She has written 3 novels. Her latest one is called The Clatter Man. That's up on the channel as of right now. Obviously, my review of Predator Badlands is up on the channel right now. And of course, I will have my latest recap of It. Welcome to 3. Episode 3 will come up tomorrow as well.
I can't wait to
Awesome.
watch that tonight. Episode 3 is going to be awesome, dude. I'm really digging Welcome to Derry.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta check it out because Jesus, that first episode was a kick in the fucking teeth.
Oh, the second episode
Eric.
was even better. The second
Oh,
episode was
second
even
one's
better.
even
Dude.
better, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, I gotta catch up. Eric, what about you, good sir? What is on your channel? What is there? What is coming up that you want people to check out?
Hey internet, Eric here is the channel. I'm pretty much done because I've been on YouTube 10 fucking years. I'm pretty much done like doing solo reviews. There's not much more I can do unless it's like, right out of the theater short type of thing. But I am still sticking with my interview series as of right now. This previous week I interviewed professional wrestler James Fury. He is only 3 years into his career, so we talk about him, and he's only 23 years old. So it's him as a youngster, dealing with what he's had to deal in the pro wrestling world. And as of right now, knock on wood, this coming Saturday, I will be interviewing actress Beatrice Bupley. She was Amanda Kruger in A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. She played Freddy Krueger's mom, and she's now back into doing Comic-Cons and films and stuff like that. And then next month, I will continue because I don't want to get burnt out on the interviews either. So I'm only doing I'm limiting myself to a month unless something that somebody I have to talk to comes up. But next month scheduled, I have Lauren Marie Taylor from Friday the 13th Part 2. I will be interviewing her and her life. I can't honestly, as much as I love Friday the 13th Part 2, I can't wait to talk to her about being in the movie Neighbors with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. How chaotic that must have been. And then the very next night, I will be interviewing director Adam Marcus. He is the writer-director of Jason Goes to Hell and Secret Santa and a bunch of other horror films. And he's got a documentary coming out. But other than that, that's pretty much it.
Well,
Cool.
congrats.
Cool. So
Thank you.
make sure you go check out, because Eric does some absolutely fucking kick-ass interviews and just
Thank you.
an awesome channel, all in all. Predpool, what about you? What have you got to
Just-
showcase on your channel?
This is normal stuff. I'm the tour reviewer, pretty much, I guess, of this group here. So I just did one recently of this from a line called Operation Monster Force. This is like the Invisible Man. He was kind of like a covert operative, whatever.
Here, I'll blow it up there.
I just put a review of this guy up about 2 days ago, I think. Yeah, about 2 days ago. So yeah, it's a pretty cool action figure. It's, if you like G.I. Joe, that type of action figures, 6-inch size, stuff like that. I have other reviews of other figures that I've done from different lines, from Hasbro, Mattel, some independent companies. So yeah, under Predpool, go ahead if you want. If you're into action figures, I am. So there we go. I even got some Predators behind me. So yeah, that's what I've got going on. I'm constantly on X. Every day on X, I post some pictures of my action figures doing poses. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're action related, action themed, whatever. But every day I post at least one picture, just to show that I like to play with my toys. So that's pretty much it.
That came out wrong.
Larry, what?
Well, yeah.
That's Predpool After Dark.
No. This is PG-13, kid-friendly toys.
I promise.
I promise.
Larry, what about yourself, good sir? What have you on the channel that you want to showcase or discuss or tell people to check out?
This in getting ready for Badlands. I did two predator type videos this past week. I reviewed the clan leader throne from NECA. I reviewed that on Friday, and then I had a while back I had capitalized on this sale that Funko is having, so I had gotten like 4 all Predator, from the Predator film franchise. I got 2 from Prey and then 2 from Predator 2, and so I kind of opened the box, showcase what I got from those, and kind of show those off. Other than that, it's going to be business as usual. Probably a review every Friday of a figure, if not something collectible related. I have been doing this thing every month called Conversations With, which is a live stream where I have a guest on. I haven't ironed out a date for this month for November, so I'm trying to figure that out, and I've already had a couple people that have said that they're down to do it. So I'm just I need to iron out. I might do 2 this month because I'll have some more time off. I just need to get with, get dates and get with those people and see who's available.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Again, guys, if you're a fan of the Predator franchise, check out Larry's channel, Horrorcat Dad's channel, because he reviews some wicked NECA Predator figures in general. He reviews some really cool fucking figures. The last thing he done was the kind of throne, the Predator throne. I was going to call it the bone throne, but that's more something that P Diddy would sit on. So no, we're just going to call it the Predator throne. But yeah, no. Make sure you check out Larry's channel. It kicks arse. Myself, I done a review of Badlands. I also done a review of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids because I wanted to see if it held up, and it fucking does. Also, one other thing, guys, if there's anyone watching and you like horror, please check out my girlfriend's channel. My girlfriend Jen's Reviews from the Grave. Her channel got nuked a couple months back, and she's now having to start off nice, dear, and gorgeous, beautiful absolutely mental human beings you could ever fucking meet, but she does fantastic content and is worth checking out. So please go subscribe to my girlfriend's channel. She's a wonderful lady and she does some wonderful stuff. I just want to thank everyone in the chat, but most of all, I want to thank these gentlemen here because y'all kick ass. But yeah, so with that, I'm going to end it here. Good night. Take care. Shlán Walya.
Have a good night.
Cheers.
Peace.
Bye.